We are live again on YouTube, y'all. What's up, everybody? Welcome to an episode of the Kava podcast, live Zoom call. My name is william-nacouzi. I am a host of this show. So you guys already know why we are here today. If you guys don't know, there's a lot of debate and a lot of people out there that were upset that did disagree with all of the topic at hand, when I stated on the video of one of my podcasts I did before on the topic that 100% of responsibility of women being single moms falls on the women. So I know a lot of people have their thoughts and disagreements. So that's why we're here today. That's why we're tuning in today. And I know a lot of people wanted to reach out to me and want to debate me and want to disagree with me. And that's why I have a Zoom call today, allow these people to be on my platform and able to share their thoughts and disagree. A lot of people have never heard of my podcast and tuning for the very first time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. For everybody that's been supporting me on my podcast, thank you so much for all the love and support of people that always faithfully supported me. And everybody out there that disagree, or a lot of people out there that may have feel some type of way or hate me. I know there's a lot of haters out there. A lot of people been sending me a lot of hate and negative messages. At the end of the day, like I always tell people, I hold no ill feelings and I don't hold any kind of hate towards anybody out there. I do understand it comes to the territory of being on social media, it comes to the territory of being a podcaster and a YouTuber. I do understand it's a big world out there. Everybody have their own experiences. Everybody have their different opinions, especially on a very sensitive topic when it comes to single motherhood. And what I stated, 100% of responsibility falls on them. And I did give my reasons. So yeah, I'm not shy to people who do disagree with me. I know we live in an age and a culture today where if people disagree with you, if people don't like you or don't see things eye to eye with you, the first response is to cancel you. So it's called cancel culture. It's unfortunate, but it's the society that we're in today that we can't just agree to disagree or be willing to listen to somebody else's perspective or opinion before you make some kind of critical judgment or hate towards somebody. I'm always been the type of person to be practical. I like to listen to people and talk to people directly. I don't respond to hate with hate for everybody out there. I want to talk to people, and if people have a different opinion and if we can't see eye to eye, I'm okay with that. But for me personally, I cannot spread hate on somebody. It's just not within myself and within my nature. But I do stand by what I said, and I do have strong opinions, especially with the topic at hand today. So first and foremost, I do want to say, for a lot of people out there, the reason why a lot of people out there are upset, because a lot of people saw a small clip. So a lot of people took it out of context. A lot of people didn't watch the full clip. A lot of the messages or the angry people out there, or the messages I've read of people that are very upset at what I said, a lot of them I do realize come from single moms. Either they either grew up with single moms, they know single moms, or they're single moms themselves. I just want to make sure it's absolutely clear. If you guys watch the full video, because that was a small clip, so a lot of you guys took it out of context. If you watched the small video, I did say that outside of rape, outside of assault, outside of certain situations like the husband passed away and the mother becomes a widow, yeah, outside of those situations, I do believe the responsibility is not on them. I said that on the full video, but I know in social media, people don't watch the full video. They only watch a small clip, or they only watch a portion of it. They don't watch it all the way to the end, so they can get the full context of what I said. And I do understand why a lot of people are upset. So I want to make sure that's absolutely clear. I do believe that if a woman is raped, assaulted, their husband passes away, become a widow, the responsibility, 100% responsibility is not on them. So I want to make sure, first and foremost, make sure everybody understands that. What I meant by my statement was, in a normal situation, when a man and a woman have consensual sex, when they have a consensual sex, I do believe that 100% of responsibility falls on the woman. And that's the situation I'm talking about. So I want to make sure I address that first. Also, to everybody out there, to make sure everybody understands, if you watch the video, because I do understand, because it is a sensitive topic, because a lot of people, when they do listen to content, they only see it through their lens. They never see it from the other side. And also, a lot of people are emotionally involved, especially with this topic. And instead of looking at it objectively, I never said single moms are not great moms. I never said that single moms are worthless. I never said single moms don't go through any kind of hardship. So I'm not insensitive to that aspect. I did not say that. All I said that single moms bear 100% responsibility of being a single moms, and I did give my reasons. So it had nothing to do with the quality of the mom, her character, her what she's been through, and the type of person she is. That's not what I said. I never said that in the video. I just said that responsibility is on her for her poor choices in men because they control access to sex, because they bear the risk of pregnancy, and all the other reasons I listed that we're going to address today with all these people that are jumping on my Zoom call. I see on the list right now people are jumping on and they want to have a conversation with me, and they have the opportunity to share their thoughts or why they disagree. But I stand by what I said. So I want to make sure that's absolutely clear, right? So because at the end of the day, like I said, I do know there's a lot of single moms out there. I was raised by a single mom. My grandma was a single mom. She was a widow, and she raised me and all my cousins back in the island of Tonga. So I do know the hardships and the responsibilities and what single mom. I've seen it firsthand because I wouldn't be the type of man I am today if it wasn't for my grandma and my sisters and all my cousins that raised me as a child in Tonga. So I've seen all of that. So I'm not insensitive to the experiences of what single moms. So I'm not here to talk about the experiences. I'm just here to talk about the main topic, which is I believe, like I told you guys before, 100% of the responsibility falls on the women being single moms in a normal situation between a man and a woman where they have consensual sex. So I want to address that first and foremost because I know that's a majority they hate or why so many people are upset because, like I said, they took it out of context. They only watched a small clip in the video, either on Instagram, Facebook, but they did not watch the full podcast. I addressed all of that if you watch the full video. So I just want to say that first and foremost. So yeah, let's get this show started. Before we get this show started, I do see a lot of list of people jumping on the Zoom call. I want to make sure everybody understands the rules. If you're watching this right now and you're on that list and you want to join me on this discussion, please pay attention. There are rules to my platform when you guys are going to join me on this conversation. Number one, real quick, I'm going to let you guys know I'm going to have a one-on-one conversation with everybody. I'm not going to talk to every single, I'm not going to invite all of you guys on my platform. It's just too much voices talking, and they won't be able to have a normal conversation. So we'll be one-on-one. Everybody will have an opportunity to speak 10 to 15 minutes, and you will have an opportunity to showcase your thoughts and why you disagree, and I'll have an opportunity to respond to you on what I said. So I'm doing this one-on-one. I'm just going to pick some random person on the list, invite you in. We'll have a chance to speak 10 to 15 minutes. Once you're done, I'll just pick another random person, and then we'll just keep doing that for the next 2 or 3 hours. I want to make sure everybody on the same page that we're going to have a respectable conversation. So if you come on this platform and your whole purpose to jump on this platform is to disrespect me, to yell at me, to cuss me out because it feels some type of way, I'm just going to immediately just kick you out. So please understand, I'm going to treat you with respect. I expect that with you. We're not here to talk about our emotions. Like I said, if you have a disagreement, let's talk about the topic at hand. And just make sure if you keep it respectful, I'll keep it respectful to you as well. If you don't, I'll just kick you out. We're going to avoid any kind of profanity, swearing, vulgar language. So like I said, please do not come here to swear. Please do come here to use any kind of profanity. This is my YouTube channel. There are policies from YouTube, especially when it comes to my channel. So if you start swearing, if you start using vulgar language, I will warn you. If you're not, I'll just kick you out. We will not talk over each other. So if you come on here, I will give you the first opportunity to speak and share your thoughts and share why you disagree. And after you're done, I will have an opportunity to respond. We're not going to talk over each other. All right. So if I give you opportunity to speak, and once you're done, and I start talking, and you start talking over me, and you won't allow me to be able to share my thoughts, even though I'm giving you your time, and we're constantly talking over each other, then I'll just kick you out. Any kind of aggression. So if you come on this platform with kind of attitude, aggression, you're so upset because of something I said, you're not coming here to have a conversation, you're coming here to show your frustration. I'm immediately just going to kick you out if I sense any kind of aggression or attitude towards me. Please stick to the topic at hand, right? Stick to the topic at hand. If we're here to discuss the topic, we're not here to discuss the experiences of things you went through or this and this and this. I do understand that everybody has experiences, but we're not here to talk about that. We're just here to talk about the topic. So if you start talking about the experiences of what you went through or what you're seeing with your family, this is not the podcast for it. We're here just to stick to the topic of why you disagree. 100% responsibility doesn't fall on the women being single moms. So please stick to the topic. If you don't stick to the topic, I'll just kick you out. All right. Also, please stick to tangible reasons of why you disagree. All right. So let's avoid talk about feelings and talk about your life story. Let's just get straight to the point. Come on here, introduce yourself, express your reasons why, and then once you're done expressing, then I'll have a chance to respond to you. Also, don't forget, it'll be 10 to 15 minutes per person. Also, don't forget, if you do jump on this platform to be able to debate me and have a conversation with me, please, if you have a different device where you're watching the YouTube live, please mute that or turn that off so that way it doesn't echo when we jump on the Zoom. I don't want to hear the YouTube live. It takes away from the quality of the video. And also, if you are jumping on the live Zoom call to have a conversation with me, do understand that your video must be on. You're not gonna talk without your video. So if you don't turn on the video, I'm not gonna talk to somebody on a blank screen. If you want to have a conversation, you disagree, have the courage to say it face to face, and let's talk like adults and say it face to face. If you don't want to have a conversation, say it face to face. Just stick to the DMs, just stick to my comments. But if you want to have an open conversation and be open about it, I want to see it. If I'm having the courage today to put myself out here for all you guys to disagree, I expect the same courage for you to be able to showcase your face as I'm doing today. So, but that's pretty much it. Those are the rules. So if you guys on the list right now, I can see on my Zoom call all these people on the list. Thank you for jumping on, and thank you for the opportunity for you guys to be on my platform today to share your thoughts. And like I said, I'm not afraid. I don't shy away from people that disagree, and I don't judge people or hate people that disagree with me. I'm always willing to listen. So I understand everybody have different thoughts, but I stand by what I said, and I'm unapologetic of what I said. That does not make me feel any type of way. Doesn't make me think I'm better than anybody. It's just I know what I believe in. I know my truths. I know what I see. And based on this conversation, if it happens, I'm not shy to say if I am wrong. And I hear some conversation, you guys give me some points that I do see that maybe something I said wasn't correct. I'm humble enough to say that I made a mistake, but I've researched this topic a lot. I've thought about this topic a lot, and I'm interested to hear everybody's opinions and why they disagree. So that's pretty much it. Excited for this. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for everybody out there that is jumping on. And yeah, so I'm gonna pick the first random person, and then we'll be able to have opportunity to jump on and have a conversation. And if you jump on, if you don't mind, just introduce yourself, who you are, and then we'll get straight into it. So let me first and foremost just pick one random person. Let's see who it is. Let's see. The big list. Oh, let me see. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. There you go. Alrighty. The first person, random person. Here it is. It's gonna be Caitlin Selmano. So Caitlin Selmano, if you're watching this live right now on YouTube, just let you know I am about to add you right now. So just be ready to jump on, and just mute your YouTube channel if you're watching on a different device on YouTube, so that way it doesn't echo into our Zoom call. So Caitlin Selmano, I'm about to admit you right now. Hello?
Oh.
Hello?
Okay. Hey, do you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing? Are you Caitlin? Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, nice to meet you, Caitlin. I really appreciate jumping on.
So
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I know you're here for the topic. Yeah, just go right into it. Why you disagree?
I just want to hear your reasoning first, because I didn't fully listen to the podcast, so I don't want to be saying anything that was. So yeah, I just want to know your reasoning for why you think women bear the full responsibility of being a single mom.
Okay. All right. That's fine. All right. So, before I go into my reason, I just want to ask you some quick questions. I just want to build a framework, so it's something that we both agree on. Okay. Can we both agree a single mom is, I guess the definition of single mom is a female has sex with the male, and she gets pregnant, and then the male leaves, and then she ends up with the baby. That's the definition of single mom. Can we both agree with that? for whatever
Yeah.
reason, the guy leaves, right? She gets sex, she has sex, they has consensual sex, and then he leave, whatever reason he leaves, and she's left with the baby. And that's a single mom,
Yes.
right? Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Do you believe that every choice that we make in life, there's a reward, there's a benefit, and there's a risk or there's a consequence in every single choice we make in life? Can we both agree with that?
Yeah, all choices have their own risks and consequences.
Okay, cool. All right, and then whatever comes after that, when you make that choice, that's 100% accountability is on you. Do we both agree with
Yeah.
that? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I do want to ask you, the risk of pregnancy, do we both agree that after sex, the person that's going to bear the child and the risk of being pregnant is going to be the female, right? It's not the male. The male doesn't carry the child. He's not going to have the child. It's going to be the female. Do we both agree with that? So when somebody gets pregnant, it's not the male, it's the female. That whenever you have that, so that risk of getting pregnant falls on the woman, not the man. Do we see eye to eye on that, or you don't agree?
I don't agree because I think the risk of pregnancy falls on both because making a baby is a two-person thing. You need a sperm and an egg. A woman doesn't, they don't make their own sperm. So the risk of pregnancy goes both ways.
I'm not
but
talking
I do
about,
agree that,
sorry. Go ahead.
I do agree that a woman does bear the responsibility of carrying that child.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you totally said it correctly. So I'm not saying of course, you're absolutely right. It takes two to create a child, a man and a woman, right? I'm just talking about once it's done, the person that's gonna be pregnant is gonna be the woman.
Yes.
And more than likely, she's gonna end up raising that child because she's gonna bear it, and the man can leave at any time because he doesn't bear it. Can we both agree with that?
I don't think, because you're saying bear it like as if it's only a woman's job, but
no,
like if we're
I'm talking about biologically. Like biologically, once you have sex, the woman is gonna get pregnant. A man can't get pregnant. The woman is, so she's gonna bear the child. Like biologically. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it safe to say because she's the only one that biologically can bear the child, then that risk of getting pregnant is gonna fall on her? So that's one of the risks of being pregnant. I'm not saying I'm not talking about handling. I'm not talking about creating. I'm just talking about the risk of being pregnant.
Yeah. So being pregnant in itself. Yeah.
In itself. Okay. We can agree with that. Also. Okay. Let me ask. I want to ask you this: is it possible to build? And I'm just speaking this in a very logical terms, just very practical things. Is it possible to build a meaningful relationship with a man and find the right man? Is it possible without sex, without the risk of sex? That you can meet a man and hold off on sex and make sure that he's the right man for you, so that way you don't have that risk. Is it possible to do that? To meet a guy, avoid from sex, and find the right guy that's willing to wait, so that way if it doesn't work out, you can leave the relationship and you don't have the burden of having a child, so you can just move on to the next relationship and you're still a single woman. So is it possible, I'm going to ask you, is it possible to find a relationship and find a real relationship with the right man without having sex?
Yeah, I think that's possible, but that's all just personal preference of whether or not you want to save it for supposed right man.
All right. Okay, that's fine, but it is possible. So that is a choice. So if it's possible, that means that's a choice. That is an option a woman can make to build a relationship with a man, find a man, and date somebody and hold off on sex, so that way she avoids that risk and she doesn't avoid that consequence of getting pregnant. Okay. All right. So and of course, like I said, if she's willing to get in a relationship with a man, and we eliminate the sex part, then there's no risk involved. So there's an option for women out there today, even though the dating culture today is all about sex. Women are we are more sexually active than ever in today's modern day dating culture. But there is an option. There is a choice a woman can make to date, to spend time with men, invest into a man, invest into a relationship, but she doesn't have to have sex. Or it's modern day 2021. There are contraceptives, birth control. There are things that you can do to make sure that if something happens, that you can make sure that you can eliminate that. So what I'm saying is, in very logical terms, there is an option today that women can choose where they don't have to bear the risk of getting pregnant, where they can date men today and don't have to bear the risk of getting pregnant. So if the relationship doesn't work out, if the man's not the right type of man for her, she can just move on to the next relationship and don't have a baby and end up being a single mom. All right. So that is my viewpoint. That is why I believe that, like I told, that's why I asked you, if you agree, the choices you make, we take accountability. And you said it is possible. It is possible for a woman today to choose, to take her time in choosing a man and avoid, because it is impossible for a woman to be a single mom if she gets pregnant, if she doesn't get pregnant. As long as she doesn't get pregnant, as long as she doesn't bear a child, you can't be a single mom. So if you go into a relationship and eliminate the sex and vet these, that's what I said in my video, vet these men out. Spend 2, 3, I said in my video, get these men to marry you first. Do not give up your womb, do not have sex with men that's not willing to marry you, because marriage for a man is the ultimate commitment, because that's the biggest concern for a lot of women. I had sex with a guy that wasn't committed, but majority of the women, over 50, if you look at the data, 50% of women today of single moms are not never been married their whole life. So that means 50% of single moms had sex with a man that had no intentions of marrying her. So that's why one of the things I said, vet these men out first. Make sure you only have sex with a guy that is willing to put a ring on your finger. And if he doesn't willing to have long-term plans for you, if it's not willing to marry you, do not have sex with him and move on to the next person. Also, I said in my video, vet these men out. Make sure that he has financial stability. 80% of divorces today, the primary reason is financial stability. The reason why people get divorced primarily is because of financial stability. So if financial stability is the main reason why people are getting divorced and why people are leaving the relationship, then that should be something that you should look at before you have sex with a guy. And like I said, the average woman today, 21, the average age they get pregnant is 21 between 26. And if you look at the data between the age of 21 to 29, only 24% of millennials are financially independent. And the rest of them are not financially independent. So a lot of women today are having sex with men, and they're not financially independent. She's not financially independent. And the data shows with the marriage, that's why marriage is not working out, because they don't have the money and they're struggling financially. So if the data shows that the likelihood of your marriage and the man keep staying around for you is because of finances, then that should be one of the reasons why you should make sure that he's financially stable. You're financially stable in 2-3 years, and make sure you guys work towards that. And also the last thing I said, make sure it takes 2-3 years to spend time with this man. A lot of women said that the reason why things didn't work out, what if the guy said, they grew out of each other, they weren't compatible, the guy had issues, the guy was abusive, the guy was toxic, the guy had behaviors that wasn't conducive to a healthy long-term relationship. And that's why I said 2-3 years. 2-3 years is more than enough time for a woman to see all those things, to see if the man is growing. See the man is growing, to see if the man have any toxic behaviors. And because you're eliminating sex, you're not holding out on sex, because you're choosing that choice, so that way you can avoid the risk of getting pregnant, then you have the ability to choose the right guy. But the problem is today, 90% of women are sexually active. Only 12% of women are virgin out of college, after college, after the age of 21. 60% of teens already lost their virginity by the time they reach high school. The average age in America, they lose their virginity is 17. So what happens is a lot of these women are very sexually active and having sex before they even get to know these men, to know who they are, if they're toxic, they have issues, they have trauma, they have behaviors. And that's what I said in my video, vet these men out. And you said it first, there is a possibility that you can build a relationship with a man without having sex. And you said that is an option. And for women, you guys control access to sex, of who you select your partner with. You guys bear the risk of pregnancy. And also for women, you guys bear all the rights. You have 100% of all the rights to the child. The man, if you get pregnant with the child, as a man in America, I have no right to the child. If you want to keep that child, if you want to abort that child, I have absolutely no rights to that child. So everything is in your shoes, is in your hands, as far as not only the physical aspect of it, but also the legal aspect of it. It's all on you. So that's what I said for women is, if you choose to have sex without vetting these men, and that's the option you chose, then you know that there's a high possibility, because you didn't spend time enough with these men, because these guys are not financially stable, And because these guys haven't married you, there's a very high possibility they're gonna leave. And if you don't do your due diligence to vet these men out, and all the data shows that if you don't vet them out at all that I just listed, there's a high probability this guy's gonna leave. And if it doesn't end up happening, you made that choice, 100% responsibility on you. So that's why that's my thoughts on it. And I'll give you your chances to rebuttal that. What do you think?
So just first, I want to ask where all this data is coming from. You're throwing out all these statistics. It's 50%, 90%.
It's all
I just want to know where.
It's all online. And after this video, I can send everybody the links. But it's all online. It's all on research. It's empirical research. It's bunch of case studies, surveys, things, statistics from the government. It's all online. So after this video, I can list it below on the link, and you guys can check all these things out. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be sure to look at that. So what you were saying, so it seems like the perspective you're taking is that if I as a woman wanted to go have sex, I'm expecting a man to marry me. But I don't think that's a very fair way to look at it, because if we were to apply this same logic to a man, it doesn't work. Because for a man, it's okay for him to go have all these different partners and not expect to marry them. But it's not okay for a woman to have all these partners and not expect to marry them. And I do understand that a woman does run the risk of getting pregnant, and that they should, at least in your perspective, you said that they should spend 2 to 3 years before they give their chastity away, I guess. But like you were saying earlier, the whole dating culture of today's society is all about sex. So why would I be thinking about 2 to 3 years? If I was to just hook up with someone, why would I be thinking 2 to 3 years ahead in the future? Or why would I even check whether or not they're financially dependent? Sex isn't something it's not always something that you plan. It's a feeling that it's lust. People like lust. So it's not always going to be something that can be planned out, that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to be safe and have. It just seems like you're blaming women, really. You're putting all this responsibility on the women, but you're not putting that same responsibility on man. Why shouldn't a man, why? It doesn't make sense to me. You're making it seem like women need to be chaste and that they need to be virgins, but it's okay for a man to just go out and do whatever because he doesn't run the risk of getting pregnant. And then you brought up abortion rights, and in the podcast where you were addressing the responsibility of being a single mom, in that podcast you said, and I quote, "At the end of the day, it's your body." Stop right there. That's what abortion is about. It's my body, my choice. So why does my body apply to having sex but not apply to abortion rights, when that's literally what it's all about? And even in that same podcast, you said that your opinions were strong because you're providing the male perspective, when in reality, there is no male perspective on this issue. There's no male perspective on a women's issues. You don't know what it's like to be a single mom. You don't even know what motherhood is. So I don't know why you thought you're valid to even speak on this. And then you also brought up that you had other single moms backing up your claims, not facts, your claims. But that doesn't even matter. If a few single moms does not mean it's the opinion of all single moms. Everyone has a different story. And then you say all this and that about, don't get into your feelings. We're going to have a logic-based conversation. But all of this, your entire case, it all sounds like feelings, like you just hate women. I hate to say it, but you are misogynistic just with all of this. And don't even try to say that you're not, because you are. Even the topics you talk about on this podcast is always about women. It's always, do women want this? Do women want that? Why do you feel the need to put your male perspective into a women's issues? It's none of your business.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to add to that?
And more about the abortion. So you bring up abortion.
Okay.
And yes, that's always a choice for a woman. But at the same time, it's not always a choice because abortion, it's always there and people know it's always there. But at the same time, it's legality in it's not legal in some states. In most states, it's actually not even legal. Not only that, but there are girls who, for example, the Mormon not Mormon, the Church of Latter-day Saints, abortion is seen as something so bad, like that we shouldn't do it. And even with our cultural values, as another poly, you do know how it looks to even get pregnant. So having an abortion would be even worse. So it's not always a choice for women.
Okay. All right. So I listened. I know you said a lot there. So I try to write all the things down. So I'm gonna try to address everything you said. Number one, you said that why should a woman look for the future and plan out for the future? And sex is just sex. It's just emotional thing we do. And why should a woman plan? I mean, for me, what you just said, that's something that's not very, that's not very practical things to say, because when you have sex, you should plan. You should plan to make sure that you're having sex with the person. That's why we have something called, just the main topic, single moms. These men are not you're having sex with guys that are not staying with the child. And like I told you guys before, having a kid is a big deal. Why are you saying, for me, like, why are you saying that, oh, let's just have sex, don't worry for the future? I mean, that means you're planning for failure. Failure to prepare is preparing to fail. Once you have sex, you get pregnant, then that baby is forever. So that's a long-term, that's a life-term investment, that's a life-changing decision. So for me, that's very baffling for you to say that why should somebody think about the future, think about the plan? When you have kids, it is a high burden and big responsibility, because once you have a child, then you're gonna have that child forever. And because women, you bear the burden of getting pregnant, and there's a risk of becoming a single mom, then be very super selective. That's the reason why a lot of women are single moms, because they are, like I said, they're just giving it up without any practical preparation to think of the future, to make sure that their mate that they're having sex with is a suitable mate, and that's somebody that they're going to have a future together. So that's something that's one. Number two, body choice, my body, your choice, right? You address that part. Yes, of course. It's your body, it's your choice. So like I told you before, that's why I believe you guys carry 100% responsibility, because you guys carry all the rights. If you have all the rights to the child, then even if a guy meets you and say you have sex with a guy on a one-night stand, the guy's like, look, I don't want the child. I don't want the child. He doesn't have the right to it. Even if it tells you it tells you up front, I don't want the child, and you still continue to have the child, even if he made it clear in the beginning it was a one-night stand, he has no intentions for you. He doesn't want to marry. He doesn't even like you. You just have a one-night stand. He doesn't even give a shit about you. He made that clear. But you still proceed to become a single mom, then that is your choice, because you have that right. The man doesn't have that right. So it's just like, for me, if you have a business, if you invest into a business and I have no right to that business, and that business falls apart and becomes bankrupt, I'm expected to be liable for that business, even though I had no right, I had no ownership. But if that business ends up being bankrupt, I'm going to pay for it, even though I have no right or ownership towards it. The same thing I see with the child. The guy has no right. So if he's made it clear he doesn't want to be a father, he doesn't care about you, he doesn't even want to marry you. Like I mentioned before, 50% of single moms today have never been married their whole life. So that means they're having sex with men that had no plan for future for them. But they choose, because they have that right, they choose to proceed, then that's the choice they make. Then you became a single mom. It is what it is. Also, you said, how come you don't expect the men to take care of the children, to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do? Of course. Do I expect men out there to make sure that to take care of their children? Should men step up and be better? Of course, but that's not the world that we live in. The men are not staying with the children for whatever reason for the women. I mean, the women are being the ones left with the child, and because you're the one being left with the child, 90% of women get custody of the child. Because you have the high probability of raising the child and also having the rights of the child, then that's why, because you bear the most amount of the risk, don't rely on the other man. Take that responsibility and be super selective. Don't expect anybody to do anything for you. That's why I come from a very practical mind. When I live in this world, I don't expect anybody to do anything for me. If you live in that kind of mindset, you're gonna fail and you're gonna meet a lot of bad people. In real life, you have to be super selective and take accountability of everything, to make sure you choose the right people in your inner circle, to make sure you choose the right type of things you allow into your life, to make sure it's all healthy, to make sure it's all positive, it's all benefit. But if you just expect the world to be sunshine and rainbows and just go out there and just make choices without planning, like you said, without planning about for the future, then you're going to have a high probability of failure, and you're going to have a high probability of meeting the wrong people and toxic people. Also, with the abortion thing, like I told you guys before, like even if worst case scenario, if you meet the wrong guy and things don't work out, as a woman, if you absolutely don't want to be a single mom, if in your heart you're like, I don't want to bear that responsibility, I'm not ready to be a mom, you still have the option. And like I said, I'm Mormon, so I'm pro-life. But when I'm speaking on this platform, I'm not bringing my religious beliefs in. It's just pure practical. So even if you worst case scenario as a woman, you made a wrong choice, you slept with a guy that had no intentions to love you, to take care of you, to be with you. You made a wrong choice. You still have not only have the rights, but you still have an option to abortion. So if you absolutely don't want to do it, life is not fair. Life is always unfair. That's life. You're gonna have to make some hard choices in life. And if you absolutely don't want that child, you have the choice to also adopt, right? You have the choice to give the baby away, adopt it, so you don't end up being a single mom, or you have the choice to abort if you absolutely don't want that lifestyle. But if you choose not to give up a baby for adoption, if you choose to not abortion, and you choose to keep the baby, even knowing full well you made a mistake, even knowing full well you made a poor choice in the guy left you, then you end up with, and you have to take accountability everything that comes along with it. That means you chose to be a single mom. So that's my thoughts on it. And also when they're talking about the misogynistic thing, no, like I said, I'm speaking on topics that's very sensitive, especially when it comes to men and women. So I'm not misogynistic. I'm talking from the male perspective, and I'm talking about things of how the real life works and the way it happens in real life. So, and I try to stay as away from my emotions, away from my feelings. Everything is very practical. But like I said, if you ever watch my podcast, you will never hear me say I hate women. You will never hear me say I think women are better or men are better. You will never see that. You never see these things. It's just when people listen to my podcast and I speak on a very sensitive topic, because I do understand the topics I speak about. Everybody has an emotional attachment to it, or they have some experience. So there's some kind of emotional experience regarding this very sensitive, because I'm not talking about normal subjects. I'm talking about very sensitive topics that's on my podcast. So I do understand people have emotional things behind it, but you will never hear me say that men are better than women. You will never hear me say I hate women. If you can find out my podcast, go watch all my podcasts. You will never hear me say that. And you said it first, and you said it on your response. It sounds like when I hear you say, it sounds like you're misogynistic. What it sounds like and what I'm saying is two different things. Like people that send me negative comments and negative hate on my messages. They say, you said the single moms, you don't know what single moms are going through. You don't know what single moms, you're downgrading single moms. If you listen to my podcast on that clip, the reason why we're having this video today, I never said single moms were terrible moms. I never said single moms were less valuable, worthless. I never said single moms don't go through hardships because I was raised by a grandma that was a single mom. All I said was the accountability of why single moms are single moms falls on them. I never said anything besides that. You never see that. I never said that on the podcast, those verbal words. So like I said, people just listen to a clip and they feel the kind of emotional what they thought about. But if you listen to the clip objectively, I never said the word hate. I never said the word better. And I never said the single moms are terrible moms. They're worthless and they don't go through hardship because my family members are single moms. All I said, the accountability is on them because you bear the risk and all the reasons that I listed with you right now. So, but for the sake of time, Kaylin, thank you for jumping on. I know I have a lot of people to jump on, but I really really appreciate your feedback. And hopefully,
yeah, whatever. Fuck you.
All right, peace. All right, so you see that? Oh man, that is a perfect example. Oh, right there. That's why I always say, guys, like emotion. That's why I always say, I give her my response, I give her my data, and look how she handles it. She cusses at me and swears at me, and people, like I said, I'm willing to listen to her, and I give her my response, and she's not willing to listen to me. It's already in her mind. She's already said, F this guy. So that's why I always say, guys, I'm trying to give facts. I'm trying to stay practical. people feel some type of way. So people always say they want to have a conversation, but they already come here. Nothing. They don't want to listen. They just want to start shit. And you saw that response today. So, but yeah, like Caitlin, I have nothing but love for you. Even though you said that, I literally have nothing but love for you. But that is why, like I said, we have these convos. We get a chance to exchange with each other. But yeah. Also, drop your comments below, guys. Drop your comments below if you guys are listening. And if you guys have anything to say about the things I said, I would appreciate it. Next person in line, let's go to it. Let's see. Emma, New Zealand. Emma, New Zealand, if you're watching this right now, Emma, New Zealand, if you're watching this right now, I'm trying to connect with you. Emma, New Zealand? Nope. All right, we're gonna move on to the next person. Emma, New Zealand? All right, you're not connecting. I'm sorry, Emma, you're taking too long. I have to put back in the waiting room. All right, next person. Next person, Jesse Sua. So Jesse Sua, that's gonna be you. I'm gonna add you to the live chat. All right. Be ready. Hey. Jesse Sua.
Hello.
Hello, Jesse.
Hey. Hey,
How you
what's up?
doing?
Look, I'm it's just gonna
You
be a
gotta,
short, okay?
you gotta,
Um,
just gotta turn the video on.
oh shoot, hold on. Sorry, I'm at my niece's baseball soccer game. But
It's all good.
can I just say this? I will respect your opinion because that's all about, and I've grown up to know that I'm 23 and I respect my friend's opinion and I will never let them change. But here's the thing, let me tell you, a woman doesn't become a single mother on her own. She's gonna lay next to a man. She's gonna inform the man that she got pregnant, but it's really up to you if you want to be in the kid's life. But the fact that you're speaking on a woman's perspective and you're saying that it's a male perspective, look, you get to decide. It's literally the woman doesn't become a single mother on her own. Y'all, it's up to y'all niggas if y'all want to be a part of the life. But you know what? I've never met a single mom that complains. If a man wants to be in in their kid's life, they will. If they want to. But if they're not going to, it's not the woman's fault. You can't blame that on the woman because at the end of the day, she's still going to be a mom. She's still going to press forward and take care of a child. And it's not her fault. She's still going to press forward because every woman that I've come across who is a single mama, they get up, they take care of the kids while you laid up with a bunch of other bitches and go on with your life. But please do not speak on I understand where you're coming from, but I don't respect your opinion because I feel like you ain't never carried a child. You don't have an ability to carry a child. And quite frankly, you're disrespecting women in your life, in your life. You're disrespecting women in your life. Man, like I don't know where you think. And quite frankly, I feel like you should have let their homegirl speak. You got to let her speak. If you want a woman perspective, let her speak. But I really want someone on YouTube, if you see this, a man, can you jump up? And because you're selecting all these women, but I want you to select a man. I want to see another man go head on him with you. So, and all these numbers you're spitting facts about, I don't know where you get your numbers, but quite frankly, you should have posted the. No. Hold up. I'm speaking.
You should have posted those links before you came on this broadcast because as a woman, I want to see these numbers. And quite frankly, those are just numbers. And let me make you understand something. Don't ever disrespect a woman. And if you were going to do this broadcast, make sure you have your resources. Make sure you have these single moms you're claiming up on this broadcast with you, because I guarantee you right now, a lot of single moms in the comments are probably like, "What in the hell is he talking about?" Because there ain't no woman in this world that they always want a father figure. There's no man who, if they would want.
Can we just
Oh,
can we go? Because I know
I'm
the second
sorry.
for the sake of time, can we just stick to the topic at hand? Why you
Okay, well, hurry up.
Okay, yeah, but yeah. So
No, hold on. You've
what's
been
your
on
what's
this
what's your
broadcast for minutes.
what's your disagreement? What's your disagreement
I
to the topic at
disagree.
hand?
Like, it's not the woman's fault becoming a single mom. Quite frankly, it's not a single
Why?
mom. She's called a
Why?
mom. She's called a mom. At the end of the day, there's no single or married mom. No, it's a mom. She's forever gonna be a mom. Don't put the single there, okay? Regardless if the man is not in the picture or not, she's still gonna be a mom. But the fact that y'all put single in there, and quite frankly, sex is normal. And you know what? And you are right. People need to have protective sex. If you don't want to
Okay.
have a kid, have protective sex. But at the end of the day, she's still gonna be a mom. You got that?
Okay.
You got that?
I
She's a
understand.
mom. She's not a single mom.
That's
Okay.
well. I'm
Okay.
gonna be. She's a single mom because that's the definition of single. She's a mom that's single. She doesn't
Okay.
have a partner.
No, she's a mom. She's even
Well,
though
yeah.
she's doing it on her own,
Okay.
doesn't
I
mean
mean
anything.
but
Okay.
that's their definition. But the practical terms in real life, the definition that's why the term is single mom because she's single. So I'm like that's the definition. It's not my definition. It's the definition of a. That's why it's called single mom. So I'm gonna
It's a
stick with that.
definition of the world, but I'm telling you right now, as a woman, I would rather have you call them a mom instead of a single mom. Okay, they're a mom.
Oh,
They're
okay.
always gonna be a
Well,
mom.
I'm gonna speak. Yeah, she is a mom, but she's also single.
Okay,
So, like I said,
okay.
she's a single
Well,
mom.
shit, I didn't know the status of. I didn't know a status of relationship defines a woman. God. Okay, well,
Yeah.
I mean, I respect your opinion, but I need you. I'm gonna hop off of this because I don't want my kids
Okay.
to,
All
see
right.
this.
So
But I'm
yeah.
just saying, like, pick
Oh,
a man to come up
okay.
here
So
and
you're not
have
here to
that man
debate.
go ahead on ahead.
Okay. So okay. He
All
just
right.
jumped on. He just jumped
Oh
on
no,
the.
I ain't in a debate because.
Okay. All right. So, ladies, if you're gonna jump here and he's not here to debate, next time I'm just gonna delete you and move on to the next person. There's a lot of people on this list. Um, I made it clear on my podcast. I made it clear before you guys jumped on. We're here to debate. Feelings, it's all subjective. Feelings are subjective. It's all based on everybody's experience. You can clearly see that she doesn't believe on the word single mom. So at the end of the day, she can live in her own reality, and there's no such thing as single mom. There's a mom, but I live in a very practical world. She's a mom, and she's by herself, and that is the clear technical the definition of single mom. That is a clear example I just mentioned of a lot of women out there that's based on their feelings. So she doesn't believe there's such thing as called a single mom. So that's the world she lives in. I live in the very practical world and what's happening in real life. So yeah, she gonna do her thing. But yeah, next time if you if you're just gonna jump on here to say your thoughts, just send me a DM and send me to a DM. Please don't waste my time. Okay. But I have nothing but love for that girl and no ill feelings. But there's a platform. I'm running a show here. There's a lot of people that want to jump on my show, so I don't want to waste my time and hold up everybody else. So on to the next person. Um, let's see, Marissa Filatoa. Marissa Filatoa, be on here. Be ready. I'm about to add you to the live chat. So Marissa Filatoa, I'm about to add you right now. Be ready. Let's go. Marissa Filatoa. Marissa Filatoa. I'm gonna give you a couple seconds to see if you're gonna add. If not, I'm going to move on to the next person. Marissa Feladoa. All right, I'm going to move on. I'm sorry, I'm going to move on to the next person. Put in the waiting room. Catherine Cajo. Catherine Cajo. Catherine Cajo, I'm going to invite you. So if you're watching this live right now on YouTube, be ready, be prepared. I'm about to add you right now. Catherine Cajo. Catherine Cajo.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So yeah, let's get really thank you for jumping on the platform. Let's get straight to it. Yeah. Yeah, what's your thoughts on the topic at hand?
So I wanted to ask a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
So regarding your single moms topic that's pretty much put
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
I think it's just, I think you said somewhere in the podcast where you were relating back to, I think, relationships or preferences, where
Mm-hmm.
it says like regarding sex, like men get tired with no intercourse in a way.
Yeah, but we all know that men want sex. You know, we want sex.
In
Yeah.
a way, you also told Caitlin in the first one where you were asking her, can you like wait for marriage? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So why should it be the woman's role in order for her to tell it to the public? In a way, that's my first question.
Why would a woman tell
Why is it someone's business for them to tell like whether they're supposed to be, especially I noticed also you were asking one of the women on the podcast about her if she was a virgin or not, and telling a woman if she should be telling men about how many partners she's had before. Should that be a business of men or for you to be putting up on your podcast?
Okay. Okay. So I know are we talking about a different subject? Because I feel like we're not talking about the subject at hand of why you disagree or
It's
why
gonna
100% of
tie
responsibility.
down. It's gonna kind of tie down. Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt. It's
No,
gonna
go ahead.
tie down back to it, but I just wanted to get some questions out of the way.
Okay, so say that question one more time so I can tell that way I get full context.
So it's tying down to going back to single moms,
Mhm.
but going back to sex in
Mhm.
general.
Mhm.
I think you said in the podcast, that same podcast, men get tired with no intercourse, pretty much summarizing it, towards relationships, which
Oh,
I've
okay.
seen it before.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also putting in a red flag into why should women be putting out their how many partners they are, if they're a virgin or not, and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and why you should be talking about that. Do
Okay.
you have their consent beforehand, saying that before the podcast, or
What? So the consent for what?
for them to be talking about their own?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the pod, everyone that comes on the podcast, they know that there are topics that we're going to talk about is dating, sex, and relationships. I'm sure you've seen the flyers of the thumbnail.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
it before.
So
I
I
was
tell you,
just double
I try to.
checking on that.
Yeah, and also I want to make sure everybody understands that's listening. I also tell all the guests also that if we ask a question and they don't want to answer it, they think they're right. They don't have to answer.
Mhm.
So if I ask a question, they don't want to answer, they can just skip it and we'll just move on with the conversation.
Now going back to the single mother thing,
Okay.
why can't we talk about regarding also Aristotle's rhetoric? There's ethos, pathos, and logos. Pathos being emotion. Why can't someone be talking about like through personal, like single mothers in general? Why can't they talk about that experience? It's also the stigma towards single mothers and their responsibility.
So you're saying I don't want to talk about the experiences, the feelings of what single moms go through? Well,
like why? Like, have you ever thought about doing that? Because I've noticed one of your last few podcast topics were the single moms bear 100% of the responsibility 3 days ago. And the one thing you didn't want, I believe you should maybe word it a little bit better, in my personal opinion.
Okay.
Because not only should it be from single moms just saying, let's hear what the stigma, society stigma, and so on. So I just wanted to get through there and clear that up. Also, I've heard that continuous thing of saying you are misogynistic. Can you please tell me on misogyny? Because you can't just say, misogyny is not only having to say, oh, I hate women, but it's also referring to things like, do single moms bear 100% of the responsibility?
Yeah.
And saying all women do this, instead of saying, we say all the time, all men do this and that. But most of the time, we're not even saying that towards most men, even though I'm pretty sure you've heard that once or twice again.
Okay.
Us women have heard it most of our lives.
Okay. All right. So I know. Yeah. So you want me to address the misogyny question or the question before?
You can address both.
Okay. Yeah. I totally forgot the second question because I was now you focusing on the misogyny. I'll respond to the misogyny, and then I'll go if you can. I'll go back to that one.
We'll go first to the misogyny, and then we'll go back to that.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
So I know that's the narrative right now. Right? That they're saying that I'm a misogynist. I hate women. And on the previous girl that was on this podcast, she said the same thing. And I told her, the definition of misogyny is guy that has a prejudice or hates women, right? That's the simple definition. And like I said, I don't hate women. I have never said on my podcast I hate women. I've never said on my podcast I think men are better than women. I never said on my podcast that we're superior or I just believe we're different. I just believe that there are things that men can do better than women, and there are things that women can do that better than men. Not only biologically, but also mentally, but also all the things that we do in real life. But the thing is, for me, the reason why it's very triggering for a lot of women is because for me, I just speak on what I see in real life. So I'll give you a perfect.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. But
go ahead.
You say you speak on real life, but you're saying that we cannot speak on feelings, but facts. So how does that make any difference?
Yeah, real life is choices, accountability, things that happen.
But you're saying you're speaking on real life, so towards your personal experiences that you've seen, but we can't talk towards what our personal experiences are.
No, not personal experiences, observations, realistic, empirical observation, not only from data, but also observation. So I'll give you a perfect example. If I say that a lot of the conversations, that's very sensitive, they will say, a lot of women will ask me, hey, why don't, I tell women all the time, but men do not want to marry promiscuous women. They don't want to marry a woman who has multiple sexual partners and they're hoes. So that is a fact.
That's the same with women too.
And yet, I will push it. No, women do not care about a man's sexuality, how many partners he has. I've asked multiple women on this show, on my show, if you meet a guy that's your dream guy, but he has a high body count, extremely high body count, but he's everything you have. He has a good job, he has a height, he has everything you look for in a man. But the only problem is he had a high body count, but he's willing to commit to you and only you for the rest of his life. All these women didn't care. They're, yeah, I will do it. They don't care. But like I said, from men, we care more about a woman's sexuality than a woman does. Because if a man knows you're a hoe, I don't need data to prove that I'm a man. Also, ask every man if a man is being honest. We do care about it, but this is a very uncomfortable here for women to hear. But like I said, a man cares about how many sexual partners. I don't make the truth. I'm just saying it. It is a real life thing. That women, that men, that's why
traditional men's view.
No, that's why a lot of women today will not mention their body count. That's why they don't avoid mentioning their body count.
That's why that's the misogynistic view, as I am presiding towards.
I don't. You may see it misogynistic, But like I said, I don't see
There's
as much as
also
just
research towards this, and many women also speak towards this.
on
So,
what.
towards body count and how men perceive women to be towards dating, less hair, how they should be looking, how they should be perceived towards society. It's always been written rules for women. Pretty much
No,
what's their salary count, if they're educated, if they're not educated, if they're a housewife, if they can cook, if they can clean, everything. But for
there
a
is.
man,
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
thank you. But for a man,
Mhm.
it's very easy for a woman to love them because they feel that compatibility only because of they see that, they feel that, because they want that love. Love is different from how they see lust.
Mhm.
What we're talking about right now, what you were talking about, the high body count, I mean, yeah, of course, like it really depends on preference. There's going to be women that says, yeah, no, I don't care. It's going to be women that say, no, I do care. But it really prefers on preference. It's not saying that I'm saying, oh, all men are this and that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying all women are this and that. And I'm not here saying I'm going to slut shame women. I'm not going to say here, if you're a virgin, you're a horrible person. Don't come up here and talk to me. I'm just saying that some of this, talking about all of that, I don't know, it still gives a misogynistic view of it.
Well, no, because like it's like I don't expect you to see, because you're seeing it from a female perspective, as you should. But like I said, there is research and data out there. If you go look it up, there's a reason why biological evolution, psychobiology, the men care more about a woman's sexual body count, because for men, the one of our biggest fears, the thing we value the most is paternity. We want to make sure that the child that is born with the woman, we want to make sure that it's our child. We do not want to raise a child that is not ours. So when a woman is very promiscuous, and there's research on this, there's a high probability of that child not being mine. So that's why men, we want to raise our own child, because for women, you don't have to worry about paternity, because every child you have, you know for a fact it's yours. But for men, we have to trust our woman that she's not sleeping around with other men, and that child is not mine. So that's why we prefer, men are biological hardwired to only seek out women that they believe they're not promiscuous, because we care more about paternity more than the woman. So there's data out there, you can do your research. So, and that's a fact. And also for men, that's the truth. Men do not want promiscuous women. Women who are promiscuous, I'm not saying that women who are promiscuous are hoes. I'm not saying they're less valuable. I'm not saying that they're terrible people. I'm not judging those women who are promiscuous. Hey, you have a choice with your body. If you want to have sex with multiple men, go ahead, do your thing, go seek your happiness. What I'm saying to women is there is a consequence, because that is one of the things that makes you unattractive for marriage and a long-term relationship. So for a woman, if you want to be promiscuous, that's fine. Just know, in reality, a lot of a lot of men will not be attractive to you, especially when it comes to marriage and seeking long-term. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying that women are less, those promiscuous or hoes. If you're a hoe, that you're worthless. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying, if you choose to go live that lifestyle, one of the consequences of that is a lot of men will not take you seriously in the long-term relationship, and a lot of men will avoid you when it comes to marriage. That is what I'm saying. So that's for women. When you hear that, it's very misogynistic. And oh my God, no, I'm just speaking the truth. It is a fact. The research that shows there's data out there for it. And it is a fact that I'm a man, so I could speak on behalf of men. Men do not like promiscuous women, especially when it comes to long term. We'll still have sex with you, but if you're looking for a finger, if you're looking for a long term relationship, as soon as a man knows that you're promiscuous, then he's gonna really think about it, and it's gonna affect the way he sees his perception of you, whether or not he takes you seriously. So that was a misogynistic one. What was the other question before? I know you had another question you want to address. For the
Yeah,
sake of
there were
time.
a lot of questions. But yeah, I think it was regarding the single moms.
Okay. Yeah. What was your question?
So can you please just reiterate, what do you think single moms bear 100% responsibility? So that's going back to what you said, paternity.
Yeah. So I know I mentioned before in the previous girl that was here, the reason why I believe the responsibility falls on her, because number one, like I told you before, she carries the biggest. Life is all about choices. Every choice we make, every choice we make, there's a benefit, there's a reward, there's a consequence, there's a risk. For the woman, only the woman can get pregnant. That's a fact. Only a woman can get pregnant. So it takes, of course, it takes two to make a baby, but only one person, one of the genders can have a baby, and that's the woman. So because you carry that risk, what I said on my original video, for women, please be sexually selective on choosing a partner, right? Because the definition of a single mom is a female that has sex with a man that decides to leave whatever the reason may be. He decides to leave. He doesn't want to be with you. He doesn't want to be with the child, and you end up being single with the child. That's what single moms are. So if you know as a woman that there is a risk of that guy leaving, then you should be very selective of who you decide to have sex with, and only select men who are committed to you. I said in my video, have sex with men that are willing to marry you before sex, willing to are very financially stable, because 80% of marriages get divorced because of financial stability. So that's why primary stability is very important. And make sure that you spend at least 2 to 3 years of knowing this man, so you can see all his toxic behaviors, his issues, emotional instabilities, all these things that make you incompatible. So that's what I said in my video. Be very selective, because the men can leave. I mean, that's just real life. That's why there's a high rate of single moms. The men can leave at any time. It's sad. It's a reality. Do I want the men to leave? Do I want all the men to take care of the children? Yeah, of course. I do believe that. I want every guy out there, but that's not real life. That's not what's happening. And that's why there's a lot of single moms out there. Because you know this fact as a woman. That's why I said if you remove the sex out of the relationship and invest your time and build relationships with men without sex, or even if you have sex, there's so many methods with contraceptives, morning after pill, so many. It's about 2021. Even if you decide to have sex, then be very practical and prepare and plan it, and don't just have sex at the spur of the moment and do it raw, and then boom, a baby. So just all these things that you can do as a woman to avoid being with a guy that's not responsible, that's gonna stick around. But if you don't make the right choices, if you don't vet these men thoroughly, then there is a high probability of him leaving. There's a high probability of him leaving. But if you made that choice, knowing that you carry that burden, that risk, then that's why you're a single mom. So that's why I'm coming from. So if you do it the right way. But the thing is, like I said, today's dating culture, 90% of women are sexually active. The average age of people lose virginity 17, 60% of teenagers lose virginity by high school. So everybody's having sex without thinking about the future. So, and that's what I'm telling women is be more selective, because if the man leaves, you're gonna be stuck with the child. And also with the rights, you have all the rights to the child, whether you want to keep it or abort. So that's why I said the responsibility on you. But if you talk to a lot of women who are single moms, most of them just had sex without even planning. Even the girl that was here before, she was like, why should I think about my future? She said that on this podcast, which was appalling to me. I was like, why should I think about my future? It's sex. I should have sex. If I feel somebody have sex. And that's the type of attitude a lot of women are doing that makes them become single moms. So I want ladies to attract the right guy. And it is possible. It is possible to have a relationship with a guy without sex. Because if you're with the right guy and he's committed to you, and like I said, he will hold out. But if you're with a guy that has no intentions for you, he's gonna want to have sex, and he falls to the culture of today, then there's a lot of risk involved, and that one of the risks is gonna be pregnancy. So if you only go relationship with a guy without sex, or if you do have sex, do all the things you need to do to make sure you prevent it. So that way, if the relationship don't work out, and you vetted this guy and the guy is not the right guy because you abstain from sex, you can leave that relationship and move on to the next relationship without being a single mom because you're not pregnant. But if you choose to have sex with the guy and end up having a baby, then there's a high probability you're going to end up you're going to get the child, because 90% of women have child custody. So you're going to end up with the child. The guy leaves, but like I said, you made that choice, and that's why, like I said, I believe that's why I said 100% responsibility on you or why you're a single mom. Because if you do it the hard way, the right way, preparation, you have a high probability of making sure you find the right guy. But if you do it like everybody else, just have the sex culture, they have sex, not think about the future, based on your feelings and not being very objective with the man you bring into your life, then the high probability of you going to be being a single mom. And if that's the choice you make, you have to take accountability of those choices. That's my thoughts on that.
I wish you could have probably talked about this in the podcast, because I believe also you worded it differently. I think it came out differently in a way that women that do end up in things like one night stands or things like that, like if you were like seen as sluts or so, I think you should have had worded that better in a way, because in a way you're seeing women as unclean when you were talking about it. I think I do see how you see, like, with single women, like single mothers do bear responsibility 100%, because mostly the men are the ones that are taking off mostly. So they're pretty much the ones carrying them. They're the ones that are giving birth to them, because pretty much the fertility rate pretty much reduces through, like, I believe their 30s, and then it goes down from their 35. While men, it's easier for their sperm to get to each woman, especially if they were to get their sperm in a pool full of women, then they would all be pregnant out of the blue. You've gotten part of your point out. I believe you should have just worded most of them better. Getting most of that, because most of the stuff that you were saying on your podcast were very, I believe it was very closed-minded in a way. It made it seem like you were like very, in a way, telling women, like, if you have sex, even if you have protected sex, you're a slut, whatever you are. But I believe if you actually gotten this out in the beginning, especially towards your apology video, you could have at least explained that, instead of saying things like this and having this whole
did you watch the full podcast? Did you watch the full podcast?
I did. So I watched the whole thing, and it was way different from how you're explaining it now. So I believe you could have maybe said that in the apology video regarding towards that. So thank you.
Okay, no worries. So how do you say your name again?
Katrine.
Well, Katrine, really appreciate jumping on, and thank you for this convo and taking the time to listen. I really appreciate that. Okay.
Thank you.
You have a blessed day. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right, next person. All right. Next person we're gonna jump is Talia Iono. Talia Iono. I'm about to add you right now. Thank you so much. So just be ready. Talia Iono. Talia. Talia. Hello.
Yes.
This Talia?
No, it's Lloyd Alator. You just got finessed, my brother. I was trying to hop up on here, but you didn't want to answer, so I had to change everything. So I wanted to see if you, because I want to get in the conversation too. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have to change your name. You didn't
Well,
have to change your name.
it seemed like you weren't answering any guys, right? I think I said it was Justin or whatever, but he didn't answer.
You talk about on this?
Yeah.
No, I was gonna do the women first, and then I was gonna do the men after. Yeah.
Can you mute that? Sorry, I want to make sure it's quiet.
Yeah. Can you mute the YouTube? I can hear the live on the echo. Can
you hear it still?
No, it's good. If you just mute it, it'd be good.
Yeah. So I just
what's your name, by the way? What's your name?
My name is Lloyd.
Oh, Lloyd. Oh, nice to meet you, Lloyd. What's up, man?
Yeah. So I wanted to get on just to see like your opinions on like, because when you said that it's a fact that it's 100% women's accountability for being a single mom, Are you saying
Mhm.
that's a fact or that's your opinion?
No,
Because I heard both of it.
I
What
listed,
you were
yeah,
saying.
I listed all the reasons and factual reasons of why I believe why it is responsibility. Did you listen to it and anything you disagree with what I said from the previous two guests that were on
Well,
here?
I'm just trying to get I'm trying to get a clear answer. Are you stating that it's a fact? Because I know a lot of people are arguing, like, where are you getting these numbers? And then you say, oh, if you
Okay.
Google it, you'll find it.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So it is a fact because, and this is the reason why I said it's a fact.
So if I go online, I can find that statistic that it's 100% because I literally just Googled it, nothing came up. So
which
either
one?
that's it.
No. So there's no. You gotta the different reasons of why I listed. That's the way you have to Google. You can't just Google the broad topic. To 100% women with responsibility. No, I have reasons why, and then I have the data to back it up. So it depends on what one of the reasons. I have multiple reasons why it is the responsibility on the woman. So I mean, but what's your disagreement? Like, if you disagree with what I said, like, what do you disagree
the
with?
reason why, as me, I was just thinking about it the whole entire time. When I was at work, just hearing like what you had said, and I feel like the reason why people are so upset is because that's like a blanket statement, and that it's so like firm, which I get like that's what you're trying to do, but it's either a fact or it's your opinion. And then so it sounds like you're saying it's a fact and it's in my opinion, which I don't get, like, which one is it, because I'm black and white too. Like, you got to tell me, is it really a fact or is it opinion? So if it's truly just your opinion, just to say that, that it's your opinion.
Yeah. So like I said, it is a fact. I'll give you all the list of reasons why. The woman, she carries, when two people have sex, there's only one person that can carry the child. That's the woman. That's a biological fact. A man cannot bear the child. The woman has to bear the child, right? A man cannot, in a normal situation, like I mentioned on the video, outside of assault, outside of rape, outside of your husband passing away and being a widow and being a single mom. Outside of that, I'm just talking about a normal situation between two adults having consensual sex. A man cannot have sex with a woman unless she allows him to. She has to give the approval. So she controls access to sex. So if the woman controls access to sex because she biologically carries the risk of the burden of carrying the child, I said in my video, the woman needs to be very selective. Very selective, because the definition of a single mom is a woman that has sex and the man leaves and she ends up left with the child and she's single. That's the definition of a single mom, right? So because there's a risk of having sex with a guy that may not be a suitable father, that I said in my video, women, you need to be very selective on the men you bring into your life. If you're not selective with the men and choosing to give it up, and you choose the wrong partner, and I gave the reasons, make sure these guys marry you. One of the biggest reasons why a lot of women complain, the guy's not committed. That's why you only have sex with guys that want to marry. I said that on my statement, because marriage is one of the biggest commitment a man can show you. If you're not willing to put a ring on their finger, he's wasting your time. So do not have sex with men who are only seeking some short term. Have sex with men that are gonna marry you. Have sex with men that are financially stable, because 80% of marriages don't work out because of financial reasons. 80% of 50% of divorce rate. We have 50% divorce rate in America. 80% of the divorce initiated by a woman because of financial reasons. So the relationship, even if you do get married, one of the primary reasons of why marriages don't work out and the women are the one initiating the divorces is because of finances. And that's why I said in my statement, make sure you bet these guys are financially stable. If you have sex with guys that have a career, they're not financially independent, they don't have stability, there is a high chance that it's not going to work out, and the data shows. And the last thing I said, 2 or 3 years, make sure you spend time. A lot of the women said the reason why it doesn't work out because incompatibility, you guys are not the same, you guys go out of each other, you guys don't, he had toxic behavior, he had issues, he ended up having all these things, the behaviors that are very toxic. All right, cool. Because you have to make sure to spend 2 or 3 years to get to know the guy, to make sure you see all these things that you will only see long term. But if you choose, but the data shows in America, 90% of women are sexually active. 60% of teenagers already lost their virginity by the time they turn 18. Only 12% of women are virgins once they leave college, once they're done with college. So 90% of women today are just giving it up and having sex with the wrong without doing their due diligence and vetting these men. I said in my video, vet these men out. But if you don't meet these men out, you don't do your due diligence, and you go out there and have sex with a guy that hasn't married you, and have sex with a guy that's not financially stable, you haven't spent 2-3 years with a guy, then all those things statistically show that the guy or the marriage or the relationship is not gonna work out long term. But if you choose to do that, which is your choice because you carry the burden and you choose who you have sex with, then the risk that comes with it is there's a high probability he's gonna leave. And if the guy leaves, then then you made that choice, then you are responsible why you're a single mom. And that's my statement.
Is that what you feel is like the problem? That's why they're ending up single moms, is because they're not vetting out these guys and not doing everything that you said that they were. So if they were doing the opposite, then boom, they would have never been in the situation that they would have, that they're in.
Exactly.
Mom.
If you take your time to vet these men, like I said, make sure this guy's marry you. Because if he marries you, the guy's long term. If he's not willing to marry you, you're a guy. If I don't want to marry, I'm not wasting. I'm going to look into you short term. If I marry you, that means I'm just looking for you for long term.
So if it's short term, what do you mean? What do you mean? You're trying to say like
if
we're just trying to hit it and quit it? And
yeah, exactly. If the guy does not want to, if you
so
don't.
Then where does the responsibility lie on the man? Because I feel like that's something that hasn't been touched on. Because while I was watching, I was just like, man, it literally feels like you are pointing fingers at women like, damn, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. But what about the responsibility lying on the man? Or that's just not in the topic at all?
No, the reason why do I believe men should step up? Yes. Do I believe that men should take care of their children and be responsible for the decision of who they have sex with? Yes.
But the reason why you're not talking about it is because...
But that's not what's happening in real life. That's a perfect case scenario. In real life, these men are leaving.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, is it's never going to change unless we change, right? So why aren't we promoting that more? Or you don't want to?
No, you can't change if the women are super selective. If the women are super selective of the men they choose and choose men based on qualities that are conducive to a long-term relationship, but let's be honest, women are choosing qualities in men that have no value in a long-term relationship. All they care about is height, his body, his big dick. And you see it on TikTok, you see it on social media, you talk to women, all these qualities.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's social media. That's social media. Social media ain't real. It's like a fantasy, Like if you really go out into the streets and really talk to women what they really want, and ask them and show them, I got this guy, whatever, recommend them, solid dudes, because that's what they need, like good referrals or whatever. But I'm just stating, like, it just seems like you're pointing fingers at women. And that's why I wanted to debate with you as far as that statement of it's 100%, women's fault. That's what it seems like you're saying to everybody.
That is what I'm saying. Like I mentioned before, because
you're saying that it's 100% their fault.
It is 100%. Like with all those reasons I just listed. And also,
how did she get the baby? Obviously, she got the sperm from a guy, right? So that's what I'm saying. You should be promoting, or why are we promoting that? Yo, why is this child fatherless? It's because the man. Why aren't you promoting like what men can do? Like what can we do, to be better men for these women or for these children or whatever?
You can be a good guy, but if the woman's not selecting you, it doesn't matter. So that's the thing is you can be the best guy in the world, you can be the nicest guy in the world, but if the women are selecting you for sex, it doesn't matter. So it comes down to the woman's selection because they have to choose you. If they don't choose you to have sex, I can be the best guy in the world. But if women don't want to have sex with me, it's irrelevant. So the women have to have better selections on who they have sex with. Because I can't have sex with a woman. I could be a great guy today, right now, but until she says, come to me and willingly open to allow me to have sex with her, that's when that happens. So that's why I don't speak on the men's behalf, because there's a lot of great guys out there, but these women are not choosing to have sex with the great guys that's suitable for being a long-term relationship, be married.
So you think that women are only choosing men that are good for sex?
Their choices show. Yeah, they're not choosing for sex. Like I said, women when there's the problem, like I told you before, they're not choosing the men. They're just choosing men for sex. They're not choosing for men for long term.
All women?
No, the women who are single moms. Because if you would have chose a guy if you would have chosen a very quality level guy, you wouldn't be a single mom.
Okay, so that right there, you said that all single moms are just looking for sex, right? But what about
Go ahead. No, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, well, what about, because if you're talking about, you're making statements for women, so I can make the same statement for men, because I know you had said in one of your videos about like, oh, we men don't make excuses. And dude, I laughed my ass off because I was like, dude, we make excuses all the time, And
Yeah.
so it's easy for men to be manipulate women to be, oh, let me just do this so I can get the kitty cat, and then I'm gonna just dip out, but I ain't gonna let her know, when we're talking to our boys or whatever. And so how do you explain for that? Because you're putting up this fantasy for her, and then all of a sudden, boom, she got played. And then so you're still saying that it's her fault, like, oh, you should have dated him. Well, he met all the criteria that Will said, So how do you explain for that?
No, that's like I said, that's why I had the stipulation of make sure these guys marry you first. Because a guy that's gonna play you, he's not gonna put a ring on your finger. He's not gonna marry you. If a guy's intention,
I've seen some young divorces that have happened.
Yeah, but yeah, there are young divorces, but the reality is, like I mentioned, the statistic, 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So the men are not the ones leaving the relationship. The women are choosing to leave. So that's one of the narratives that a lot of women.
And the reason why they're leaving is because what?
Financial reasons, financial problems. So
it never had to do with anything like sexually pleasing or anything like, oh, he didn't please me enough.
No, that's the reason they listed on the divorce. When they filed the divorce papers, they say it was financial reasons. That's why they get divorced. And that's why I said for women, if you want to avoid the getting played, because we know men are manipulative, and women are, but most men too. And I'm a guy too. I tell women straight up, men will say anything to have sex with you. To keep it real, I'm gonna keep it 100. I've done it in my past. I will say anything to have sex, because you know how men are and the nature of men. That's why I said, don't have sex with men. I don't want to put a ring on her finger. I can want a woman so bad, but if she wants me to marry me, I'm just gonna go to the next one, because men know that when we get married, we are legally binded to this woman. So that's why I'm saying you can avoid the bullshit. Tell these men, marry me, put a ring on her finger. That guy will run away from you as soon as he can. And then the guys, the real men, and I know you said that on the statement. I said on the video, men don't make excuses. Men make results. Yeah, I do believe that. Boy, there's a difference between a man and a boy. Unfortunately, there's a lot of boys out there that never grow into men, and they become boys their whole life. But men that actually grow into become real men, who take responsibility and they don't make excuses. But like I said, for all the women out there that are worried about manipulation, ask the guy to put a ring on their finger and marry you before you give it up. You will eliminate all the bullshitters and the guy that's gonna play with you, because those guys will not put a ring on their finger. So the guys that want to put a ring, that take you seriously, they will step up and put a ring on their finger if they really want you and they're the right guy for you. That's why I have that stipulation. Avoid the bullshit. Tell them, marry me, put a ring on their finger. They'll dip. I'm telling you, they won't last. They won't run away, find somebody else. And that's why I had that stipulation right there.
Yes, I mean, like I could see it go that way, but I could also see that if a female had said that to me, then I'd be like, no, I need to vet you out as well. So
yeah, exactly.
Let me hold up real quick.
Exactly.
It's not like I'm denying it right then and there. It's just I got to do the same due diligence that they're trying to do.
Exactly. And then if you choose to leave, then it is what it is, right? Then she just moves on to another person. If she says, hey, marry me, and you're like, I don't want to marry you, it's not my thing, then it's good. She avoided you. She might find somebody else that's willing to marry her. That's what I'm saying. That's why that requirement. That's why I said it. Vet these men out, and if you want to shy away from manipulation, if you want to don't get lied about these men that men are doing, then tell them to put a ring on their finger. That will chase away all those guys, and the guys that take you seriously will step up and will marry you. But if you choose to have sex before putting a ring on their finger, then you're gonna be easily.
You're opening that door to
exactly.
having that.
Be manipulated,
but what do you say? What do you say is a time period that they should
ask that question? Okay, marry me, and then if he runs away, that's how you know he's not the one.
I'll flip in the beginning. Tell him I'm looking for marriage. I'll flip. Tell him I'm looking for marriage. I'm looking for long term, and I'm not want to have sex with you. I'll flip.
Would you give that advice to your good friend, like one of your good friends that is trying to get to know somebody that's like super solid? Because if some girl said that to me, I'd be like, whoa, what the hell? I don't even know you,
If I meet a girl, right, and just meet her in public, and say I met her in public, right, and we're talking, we're vibing, yeah, I like this girl, and everything's connecting. And then we go on a date, right? We go on a date, and then on the first day, she's like, hey, I just want to let you know that I'm looking for long-term for marriage, and I'm not gonna have sex with you until marriage. If I like her enough, I will do that. I will do that. If I like her, if I like her, if I'm feeling her, I will hold off on it and respect that, because I know in this world it's very hard to find a good woman. I know this in 2021 modern day dating, it is so hard to find a good woman. If I find a good woman and she says that she wants to hold out and she wants me to put a ring on her finger, I will put that investment in if I believe she's a good woman. So that's my statement to that. Say it up front, because let me say this. Apparently, the way that everybody else is doing is not working. So if everybody else is having sex, the dating culture today, if it's not working, then do something different. That's a very logical thing to do in real life. That's the definition of insanity. Don't repeat the same action every single day and expect a different result. If everybody in today's dating culture is having sex and everybody end up being knocked up, getting pregnant, guys are leaving, wouldn't that be a very practical thing to say, you know what, since everybody else is doing not working, maybe I should try a different method and hold out from sex, because what everybody else is doing is not working. Let me try this. That's what I say. Because so for a lot of people out there, it may sound extreme because of today's dating culture. Like, oh wow, well, she holds out from sex. But if you think about it long term, it's very rational. Like if a woman wants to protect herself, she doesn't get played by these men. That's a very rational thing for a woman. And for a man, I would respect that, because it shows that she's not, she's not promiscuous. She values herself, self-respect. That she knows her worth. For me as a man, at this level of maturity and where I'm at right now, I would respect that in a woman. That she's not willing to be like other girls and just have sex and give it up on casual. She's gonna stamp out her beliefs, and she's willing to lose me. She's willing to lose me for the fact that she's gonna stamp out that she doesn't want to give it up, and she's willing to lose a guy like me. And I'm like, you know what? I respect that. And of course, I'm connecting with her. We're vibing. We're communicating. I'm like, you know what? This is something I want to invest into, and I will respect that if she's that woman. So, but today's dating culture, like I said, 90% of women are sexually active. 60% of teens are already lost virginity. The average age right now in America losing virginity is 17. Only 12% of women are virgins after they leave college. So everybody today is just having sex, no repercussions, no preparations to the future. But like I said, it all comes down to their choice. So if you choose to be sexually active, if you choose to have sex with random men without fully vetting them out, you're looking to make sure that they marry you, make sure they have stability, and spend 2 or 3 years invested to make sure you see their toxic behaviors and their emotional instabilities. If you do all that work, then like I said, the reward will be the high probability he's gonna stick around. But if you just go out and give it up, then you're taking a big risk, because you're gonna end up with the baby. Not only you're gonna carry the baby, you're gonna get custody of it, but also legally in America, as a man, we have no rights to the baby. So even if you say she made a one-night stand, right? Even if she made a one-night stand and the guy was like, told her, I don't
trying to get the baby.
Yeah, the guy is like, you know what? I don't love you. I don't mean, and it's a one-night stand. I have no feelings for you. Even if the guy tells her that and she still proceeds with the pregnancy, that was her choice, because the guy has no right. So if it's her body, her choice, she has all the rights to the baby once it's procreated. Then the responsibility on you. If you choose to move on with the baby, even the guy tells you, I don't fuck with you, I don't love you, I don't want to be anything, I just want you for sex. Even if the guy tells you that, and you still choose to proceed with the baby, then you made that choice to be a single mom. Because as men, we don't have no rights to the baby. All the rights is held to the woman, and that's why I stand by what I said. And accountability on her. I know it sucks. It's very hard to hear for a lot of women, because it's very emotional, this topic, and a lot of women out there are single moms. But like I said, I'm not talking about the character of single moms and the quality. I know a lot of single moms in my family, they're great women. I'm just talking about the choice aspect of it, of the making the choices. And I just gave you all my reasons.
You ever talk to them? You ever talk to them or look at them and be like, damn, that's your fault. You're a single mom.
Of course. I have women on
what's the response?
The women on the join me on the podcast, the majority of them are single moms. I'm good friends with them today. And I tell them straight up, like, look, you made that choice with that dude.
And what do they say? What's their response? Do they say, oh, I know? Or
no, some of them, they own a lot of them are like, I know. I fucked the wrong thing at that guy, I don't know what I was thinking. A lot of women are like, man, I don't know what I was thinking being with that guy. Looking back, hindsight, But like I said, there's a lot of women out there that don't want to take accountability. A lot of women out there have toxic feelings towards the baby daddy, all these stuff or whatever issues. So they don't want to be told that they made a bad choice. I have good friends of single moms today that say, you know what, I messed up. I messed up. I didn't think it through. I had sex with the wrong guy, and we're still cool today. You know, like I said, I don't judge them on, I don't judge them on their choice, but they made that choice. So, you know, I'm not saying that these moms, I'm not saying that these moms
judge them on that choice, but hey, I'll judge you on that choice.
No, I don't judge them the choice, but that's life. You know, I make a choice. There's a reward, there's a risk, and there's a repercussion. And whatever comes, whatever choice you make, it is what it is. So, and that's just life, and that's just life in general, and that's the single mom. And when it comes to that single mom aspect of it, that's the reality that they have to live with. So, and that, yeah, just yes, it's not about. I'm just talking about the choices they make, and it's on them. And I listed all my choices, and I just said I just want the women to vet these men, vet these women, and be very super selective. But in reality today, because of modern day dating,
and these men need to vet these women too, because you know it's sad to see all the those kids growing up with no father, and that's why there's broken homes and everything. So, I just encourage you to keep pushing out for those things. But I see both sides, and I just want to come on, put my little 2 cents in there.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Let everybody else hop on here, and thanks for the time, bro.
No, I really appreciate it, brother. Have a blessed night, man.
Right. Yes,
yep.
Sir.
Peace. Yep. All right. Next person. King Tui. King Tui. I'm adding you right now on Zoom. King Tui. King Tui. King Tui. King Tui. I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds to add on, and if not, I'm gonna move on to the next person. King Tui, are you watching? Nope. No can do. All right, move on. All right. King Tui. All right. All right, next person I'm gonna add on is Juanita Talakai. Juanita Talakai. Make sure I'm about to add you on right now. Let's do it. Juanita Talakai. Juanita Talakai. Let's connect. Juanita Talakai. Juanita Talakai. Juanita Talakai. Yep. All right. On to the next person. And yeah, drop some comments below. Everybody that's watching now, still watching live. I know we've had some couple guests. I just want to say thank you for all the guests that have been jumping on. But yeah, everybody jump on right now. Drop some comments below, things we've said, and what your thoughts on everything was. I'm very interested to hear what everybody's saying. All right, the next person I'm gonna add on, I'm gonna start from the bottom list. Is Stephanie Mafileo. Stephanie Mafileo. Stephanie Mafileo. I'm about to add you right now. Make sure you're ready. About to jump on. Let's do it. Stephanie Mafileo. Yo, yo, yo. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Connected to audio. I still can't hear you, bro. I still can't hear you. Oh, sir. Hello, hello. You gotta click the audio button. There you go.
There we go.
Hey, what's
There
on?
we go. What's happening, Rob?
What's that, bro? Why'd you use a female name, bro?
All right, bro. Same reason why that nigga Lloyd did that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shit. But
What's
yeah,
up,
bro.
What's up? What's your name? What's your name?
My name is Two, bro.
What's up, too?
What's happening,
Yeah.
man?
Let's go right into it, man.
Hell yeah, man.
What's your thoughts?
Shit, man. Just to kind of reestablish what your statement was, it was a 100% of responsibility of women being single moms falls on women.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, bro, I don't know if you want to generalize that whole thing on all situations. You know what I'm saying? Just because you established that 100%, meaning you've looked at all the different type of situations that can happen. Consensual sex. You know what I'm saying?
I did clarify where outside of rape, assault, and women being widows. I did clarify that.
Okay. Okay.
Because remember that video that was going viral online? That's a small clip.
To be honest with you, I ain't watch your shit, bro.
Okay,
I just seen that small little clip. So
yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I'm saying?
If you watch the full video, I mentioned that I did say outside of rape, outside of assault, outside of women being widows, those certain situations. But when it comes to consensual sex and a normal situation of between a man and a woman, I do the statement. I made that statement 100% responsibility on her being a single mom. Falls on her.
Okay, let me ask you this, right? Because I've heard you speak about it with a couple of other people, right? Yeah. And so, just to quote unquote what you said, right? If those two people were to have sex, only one person can get pregnant.
Yes.
Right. You can confirm that's what you said, right?
Yeah.
All right. And so for me, man, just really thinking about it, bro, it's like, obviously you've heard the whole spiel about, oh, it takes two to tango, or it takes two people. Yeah. But then when you are in that situation where, you know what I'm saying, as a nigga, we drop sperm. So therefore we are providing ourselves to, you know what I'm saying, plant that seed and fertilize that egg. So therefore it's no...
You just avoid the N word because of the YouTube policy, if you don't mind.
Yeah. All right, bro.
All right, go ahead.
But yeah, man, it's like when we, you know what I'm saying, are going through that process of making love to the woman that we are making love with, we are now fornicating. And now I'm dropping my biological identity into her. Therefore, it creates it, right? So therefore, it's no longer two people that are, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing that's connecting us. You know what I'm saying? It's like we are providing a part of ourselves to make a life, whether it's intentional or not, right?
Yeah.
It's no longer that, oh, she's just pregnant. No, bro. You're pregnant with her because your body fluids is in her. So now you are a part of her. She's a part of you. You know what I'm saying? It goes both ways. We can't leave out the responsibility of a man, you know what I'm saying, to a woman when, yes, I understand that she's going to be the one to carry the baby for 9 months if she decides to keep it. Yeah. And to your point, how you say that you want to, you know what I'm saying, you want to emphasize if the man doesn't want to have the baby, right? Because that's what that's what your stance is on, right? If the man doesn't want to have the baby and she wants to keep it, it's her fault.
It's her choice.
Is that can you confirm that's what you mean?
Yeah, it's her choice. So if she chooses to keep the baby, then all the responsibility falls on her if she chooses to keep the baby.
But you got to understand, bro, you are inside of her. All that responsibility falling on one side rather than the other, that's out the door. You know what I'm saying? That is totally out the door, because you got to understand you are a part of her. So with that decision into going into doing that, you basically accept the responsibility whether you want to keep the baby or not.
But let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
But let me ask you this. That's what men should do, right? Everything you're saying right now, that's what a man should do, right?
I guess so.
Exactly. If you have sex with a woman, he should take care of his baby, right?
Right. But you got to understand.
But
when
why
you
are men? Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
When you practice that, right? When you want to go ahead and you want to invest yourself into another person, into another female,
yeah,
all that whole thing about, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's like, just to put it on, you know what I'm saying? It's unfair, bro. Like, to be honest with you, I've had many debates with a lot of the homies that have kids, right? Mm-hmm. They don't want to be with the baby mama.
Yeah.
And so when I told him, I was like, bro, you should have thought about that before you started the process of making one.
Yeah.
Whether you intended to have one or not.
Yeah.
The result is you have a kid now.
Yeah.
And to go on to your point when you were speaking with Lloyd, right? I've heard that you should wait till marriage and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I think, to be honest with you, yes, life is about choices. Yes. Right? Mm-hmm. Life is about choices, but life is mostly how you react to shit you said no cussing. Life is how you react to all the things that happen to you, right? And so I think in this case, right, in order to protect women from being pointed at, and oh, she's the one that's going to be carrying the baby. I said I didn't want to have it. I should not be responsible at all. And now I'm out. So obviously there's a system where people have to pay child support, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. And can you refresh my memory about this whole thing about 2 to 3 years or something like that?
Yeah. So I'm going to go off what you said. You said, I totally agree with you. The men should step up, right? The men should take care of the children, but that's not what's happening in real life. There's a lot of men out there, they're not stepping up. And
whose fault is that?
And I blame that on the woman, because that's why I said, be super selective. As I said, I mentioned very clear, because you bear the burden of being pregnant, then you need to be super selective. Only have sex with guys that are committed to you, they're financially stable, and you invested 2 or 3 years to make sure that he doesn't have any emotional instabilities and toxic behavior. That's why I said in my video, vet these men out. But if you only have sex in the spur of the moment, never thinking about that guy, what kind of father is, just because you're just having sex, then the consequence of him is him not being a suitable baby father. He's not going to step up, and he's going to leave you. Because you have custody, because you have all the rights to the baby, and because you can most likely going to have the baby end up raising the baby. That's why I'm telling these women, be super selective, because life, like you said, is a lot about choices. So if you choose to just have sex for the sake of sex, you just met this guy and you're just feeling each other, never thought about the repercussions of your actions, and just procreate, never thinking about the future, the marriage, the kids, then you knew when you had sex with this guy, there's a high probability this guy's going to leave. So that's why I tell women, take accountability. Be super selective. Only have sex with guys that can marry you. Only have sex with guys that have proven to you that they can financially support you and the baby. And only have sex with guys that you spend at least 2 or 3 years to get to know them. Because there's statistics that show that if you marry within a year, the divorce rate goes extremely high. Less than 6 months is the highest divorce rate. The perfect time, based on statistics, is 2 or 3 years. The people that marry within 2 or 3 years invested, they have a high probability of being married long term. People that get married that either have sex or get married less than 2 years, then they have a high probability of leaving. So because of that, I tell women, don't just have sex with any guy. But like you said today, that's not what's happening in the real world. Everybody out there is just having sex. And that's unfortunate. The women end up being left with the kid and have to raise it as a single mom. And if you're a young woman out there, if you want to avoid being a single mom, don't give it up. Be selective and make sure you only have sex with a guy that's a right guy for you.
All right, so let's paint a different picture, right? Let's paint a different picture. This whole thing with the marriage thing, boom, they got 2 or 3 years under their belt. They get married, they lock themselves in for life, rings on ring fingers and everything. I'm gonna ask you this question. If a woman is married to her baby daddy, but her and the baby experience all different types of abuse, right?
Yeah.
Do you shame the wife for staying in that marriage? Or would you shame her if she left? It's kind of like a pick your poison type of question.
So they get married and the woman gets abused?
Right, yeah. So let's just say all the opinions that you want, right? Or the statistics that you said. Let's put it all in this criteria. Boom.
Yeah.
2 to 3 years, married. Now they have sex, right? Now they have a kid. But What if the dude that she married ends up being somebody she did not expect to see, that he did not show? Because if you think about it, right, there's three faces everybody has. It's the face that everybody sees, it's the face that the close ones see, and the face that only you can see, right? And the more time you spend with somebody, the more the true self starts to unravel, right? So going back to my question, right, would you blame the baby mom, or would you blame the wife if she stayed in a abusive relationship or abusive marriage that her and the kid experienced? Or would you shame her if she were to leave? All the criteria that you
I would look word. I want, like I said, there's a difference between shame and there's a difference between taking accountability. When I say take accountability, that does not mean I'm shaming women. It does not mean that I'm talking less of them. I'm just saying you made your choice to you have the responsibility. That's all. So when I say take a responsibility, that does not mean I'm shaming them. I'm just saying that's what I'm saying. So the word, like, I'm not shaming women. If you with a guy that's abusing, you leave. That's the logical thing to do.
Okay.
Right?
So let me rearrange my question for you. Because totally dodged it. I asked, would you blame the baby mom? Would you blame the wife that's in the marriage if she were to stay in that toxic, abusive marriage, right? Because she's going to be with the father of her child. Checking your criteria, 2 to 3 years. Boom. She's a virgin. Boom. All that. Now she has a kid. Now they're together. Would you say that with all the different types of experiences that her and the baby daddy would experience, would you, what's another word for shame? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make it seem like, would you rather have her stay in the relationship, the marriage, or would you rather leave? Would you rather have her leave?
No, leave, but just accept the responsibility that you made a bad choice with a guy that was very abusive and just move on with your life.
But what if she didn't know, though? Right? All the things that you said, boom, it's a Prince Charming. Got long, luscious hair, big old dangling and everything. Check mark, 2 to 3 years, virgin, boom. All the things that you said. Right? But what if all that ultimately comes up to being the guy that she does not know? Because like I said, three faces, right? Ultimately, this dude is a dickhead, but he's been playing this fake card for 2 to 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Is it still her fault for making a bad decision of all the cards that he played?
So the one thing I would say before I answer your question, what you're doing right now, you're using like a very extreme, like unrealistic situation to represent what's really happening in the real world. I mean, that's a very extreme thing to do. Like, how many guys out there that have all the checklists that's gonna marry a woman, financially stable, have all those things? Like, that's not a representation of the average guy out there just having sex. So
you're telling me that you've questioned every guy that's financially stable, that's a good man to everybody's eyes, that is waiting for the right one, and is willing to wait 2 to 3 years without having any sex with the person that he wants to.
That's why I said the criteria: just be with only give up sex to a guy that's willing to marry you, put a ring on the finger. Just financially stable. When I say financially stable, I'm not saying millionaire. I'm just saying he's more.
Did I say millionaire? I said financially stable. I literally covered what you said.
Financially stable, they can take care of her and the child, and you spend at least 2 to 3 years of investing your time with that guy. But if you look at the data, that's not what's happening in the real world. That's not what's happening with the choices of women, of who they choose to have sex with. So that's not what's the real in real life. Women are having sex with guys before marriage, premarital sex. 90% of women are sexually active. They're not having sex with guys that are financially stable. Millennials between the age of 21 to 29, only 24% are financially independent. So everybody between.
Can you tell me where you got that information? Because I know you're looking somewhere.
I'll put out the links.
No. Please put out all the links. I want you to exactly tell me where to go.
Yeah, put all the links.
You know
you guys to look all these stuff.
We got to validate this. Right now, you're throwing numbers at me more than my math teacher in my high school class.
I mean, like I do. This is what I do. I'm a podcaster. I talk about the subject, so I spend all my day researching this. So this is my career. So I know this.
It's your career. You make good money off of it.
Yeah,
you financially stable.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice, man.
So yeah. I mean, for myself, not for a woman, not for a kid. I can take care of myself. I'm not at a point right now that I can handle a baby and I'm not willing to go into that until I put myself in a situation that I can only finance myself. a kid, possible kid, and a woman. So
okay, so let's
right.
let me ask this, right? With what, let's just flip the table. Instead of the girl investigating the guy, should the guy have the same energy and invest all of his time and energy into the girl and basically get to know her, basically have the criteria for the guy to look into a woman?
Yeah, the men should vet the women as well, and the women should vet the men as well. But the reason why the women should take more emphasis on vetting these men, because like I told you before, they carry the burden of having the baby. So even if a guy goes into a relationship with a woman he doesn't like, ends up doesn't work out, he can just leave and he doesn't take the kids with him, because 90% of the custody the woman will end up having the children. So when we leave a relationship as men in real life, we don't take the kids with us, because most of the time, 90% of the time, she's gonna have the kids. And because a single mom, the definition of single mom, she's a mom, she's single, that has kids, because she's gonna end up taking care of the kids and end up the kids with her. That's why I say be more selective and let these men out, because at the end of the day, she's gonna end up being the one with the kids as a mom.
So how would you identify someone that's a widow?
You pass
Are
away.
they a single mom?
Yeah, you're a single mom. But like I said, I already addressed in the beginning. I don't put the responsibility on them if their husband passed away. I said outside of rape, outside of assault, outside of widows. I'm talking about normal situation between two people, consensual sex, and it didn't work out. So I did mention that. Outside of widow, outside of rape, outside of assault, I don't keep the responsibility on them.
Okay. So let's go back on the topic of abortion, right? Because you mentioned it a lot, right? Obviously, each state in this country has different laws and statutes regarding abortion, right? Obviously, there's different factors. There's finance, the number one, you know what I'm saying? The number one reason why a lot of people don't get it, it's because it's expensive as hell. Depending on how far you went into the pregnancy, you know what I'm saying? It could be a couple $100s, which is the average, or sometimes it's a couple of $1,000.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? What if, and there's a lot of, you know, activity with the government that blocks federal aid to aid women that want to get abortions, but they have to meet this certain criteria, right? And they don't meet it, so they have to keep it, right? And so is it still her fault if she wants to have that abortion, but she can no longer legally have that abortion in that state?
They move to a different state. And have
you see, but that's different, because if you move to a different state, you have to have a certain amount of time of living in that state in order to qualify for that aid, in order to, you know what I'm saying? It's because it's like this, right? I have a cousin that's out in Cali, right? Out in the Bay. She wanted to have an abortion, but she couldn't.
Why?
She was too deep in, because California, she moved, and in the state of Texas, over 6 weeks, you can't have an abortion after you see that little bump in the stomach.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So,
but she's already a resident of Texas.
So you know because what you're saying is that they couldn't have an abortion because it was already too late into the trimester, right? That 6 weeks. Well, I would say at the end of the day, yeah, that's still her responsibility. As soon as you had the pregnancy, and you realize that guy wasn't a suitable father, do your research. If you knew that you don't want the baby, then you should have done your due diligence, put in the work to make sure you find the right criteria, and done your homework to make sure you can get that abortion. But if you didn't do your due diligence, it was too late. It is what it is. It's too late.
Blame is still on the women,
because life is not perfect. No, we're not talking about perfect case scenario. Life is unfair. Sometimes things happen. It's unfair.
Right.
You just deal with it and move on. So yeah.
So let's just say, for, you know what I'm saying, conversation's sake, if the dude is making all these promises, right? Talking about, okay, I'm ready, boom, they have it. But he dips out probably second trimester. Yeah. Second part of the trimester, right? And now she can no longer provide the basic necessities to have the baby. Right, but she was relying on this guy. Is it still her fault?
That's why. But like I said, that's why I said you have to vet these guys out. Only have sex with guys that marry you. Only have
Bro,
sex
but
with-
marriage doesn't really validate that you're a good guy. I know a lot of people that get married 10, 15 years down the line. They're still pieces of crap. They're still cheating on their wives at the fight level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Just
but-
because
but-
marriage
yeah, but
doesn't
that's one
marriage
aspect.
doesn't so marriage
one-
does not solidify your loyalty. That's what I'm
But
trying to say.
I know, but that's one aspect of it. Also, marriage that's the best way to show commitment, right?
No,
So if
it's not. Marriage is not the. I can tell you right now, marriage is
From a
not
guy?
the best way. From a guy, really,
For a guy,
really.
so if you choose to marry a girl, that's not the highest level of commitment for you as a guy to a girl to marry her.
No, because the highest level of commitment as a guy to a girl is the promise that he makes to himself. It's not about the ring that you put on a girl's finger. That's not the.
Well, I
That's
mean,
not
the-
the commit. The commitment that you make.
The promises. We can see about promises, but if a woman wants to be able to, everybody can make a promise, but let's put it on once you put on a document, the promises you have to fulfill. So that's
A
why
documented promise doesn't mean anything if you don't follow through with it. A ring doesn't matter. If you think about it, rings are useless.
But let me ask
Important
you,
to what?
Let me ask you. So, do you want to get married one day?
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
All right. So the women that you meet that you want to marry one day, those are the women you're gonna take them seriously, right? The wifey type. If you meet a girl that you feel like that she's a very, she's wife material to you,
Right.
and you're gonna take her more seriously, right? You're
Right,
gonna be
but
you're
you gotta
gonna be more committed.
understand.
You're gonna be more committed.
But,
Yeah.
but you got to understand, I don't have to put a ring on her finger for me to be 100% committed. That's the thing that people misinterpret a lot.
Yeah, but
You don't have to put a ring. That's
you.
you showing off to the world, hey, that's my wife. No, it's by the daily actions that you do. It's by the daily convictions you have for your own promises that you remind yourself every day.
Yeah.
You don't need a ring to have that conviction of being committed.
I understand that, but if for a woman, it's more practical to put it legal binding, because you're gonna go by a man's word, like you said, a man can have a promise today and then leave tomorrow. But if you put it legally, make sure it's legal, and the guy's willing to sign those papers and commit to that marriage, there's a high probability he's committed. A guy won't just marry a girl for the sake of just marrying her.
Come on, dog. Really? I mean, we're totally different in our own ways, right? But I'm sure you've seen. Well, I don't know if you work at airports. I don't know if you work at places where you're exposed to a lot of different people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Clubs. You know what I'm
so
saying? I've seen a lot of marriages being broken at clubs. I've seen a lot of marriages being broken at work, at the airport. You know what I'm saying?
No,
You gotta.
no, I'm not. So that's infidelity. We're talking about. Well, the topic at hand tonight is just responsibility to make sure you don't end up being a single mom. So that's the topic. So if you're still married with this guy, you're not a single mom. That's the topic we're discussing. So we want to talk about infidelity. That's a whole different topic we can go into, but we're not talking about it today.
I can tell you this right now. Just because you're married to somebody, that doesn't mean you can't be single, because you can be in a marriage and be in two totally different realms of understanding with each other.
That's
right.
Talking about broken marriages. We're talking, but that's not the topic at hand. We're just talking about
no. It all lies under the same thing, because you just said, correct me if I'm wrong, the whole identity of having a ring and being married legally, you're still married, right? You're talking about.
I just talk about that's one of the criteria a woman should, to avoid the guy, because we know men can be manipulative and men may not have the right intentions for you. To avoid the men who are very manipulative, they're gonna bullshit you, they're gonna tell you all the things you want to hear so you can get that ass and you can dip. Tell them to marry you. And if those guys that's gonna bullshit you, they're gonna waste your time, they're not gonna put a ring in their finger, because we don't want to be legally bound to you.
Oh man.
So those guys, and then only the guys are gonna take you seriously. Then you gotta select a guy that's gonna take you seriously, because we're not gonna go out. You're not gonna marry a girl just to have sex. As much as men don't want to have sex, you're not just gonna marry a girl to have sex. If a girl says I want to marry for sex, you're gonna dip and go find another girl that's willing to give up about sex. There's so many women out there that want to give up about sex. If a girl tells me, hey, if you have sex with me, you have to marry me, put me for long term. Men won't. Let's be honest, they're not gonna do it. They're like, no, I'm gonna find the other girl. I'm not gonna legally bind myself.
Come on, really?
To this girl.
Yeah, let's say you had fucking Angelina Jolie. She came up to you, hey, marry me, and I'll give you all the coochie you want. You telling me you won't do all the things for Angelina Jolie? Or how about
if for the right woman, I would. If I don't like Angelina Jolie, I don't care. I'm not gonna wife you. I'm not gonna wife for sex.
Who's a celebrity you like?
That
you have like, damn, bro, I am Head
Oh,
over
Rihanna.
heels for her.
Oh, Rihanna's hella bad. Yeah.
Rihanna. What if Rihanna came up to you? Hey, stick with me 2 to 3 years. No playtime. Marry me and give you all the coochie you want. You doing that?
No,
Why not?
because she's Rihanna. I'm like, she's in that level. I'm not that level.
You can
I-
only
I-
stoop down to as low as you put yourself. What if she
for
really
for
did
no
do
for,
it?
no, for a normal girl in my level, like Rihanna's a celebrity. I don't want that lifestyle. If I meet a girl today, because like I said, if I meet a girl today and and that's a girl I really really like, we met, we talked, every day I'm feeling her, she's feeling me, and she told me, hey, I'm not gonna have sex with you unless you commit to me and put a ring on my finger and marry me. If I like her, if I like her very much, and that's the woman I want to be with, and I see my future potential in her, she's the type of woman to be the mother of my kids. I will agree with that, and I will wait, and I will spend that time with her because it is hard today to find a very quality woman. So if I meet a woman that's very quality, a good woman, then I would spend.
What is your definition of a good quality woman? Please provide me the definition of a good quality woman.
It's simple.
Is there a good quality man out there?
Yes.
How do you know?
Quality. So you're saying there's no quality, there's no good men out there?
Did I say there wasn't? I'm asking you, how do you know? That's the simple question that I proposed to you. I didn't say that there wasn't. I'm asking you. Don't try to flip me. Don't try to flip the question with a question.
Well, I know good men personally. I know myself. I'm a good man. I know people.
Do you know them? Do you know if they'll be good to their wives or their spouses or whatever?
Yes, because
how do you truly know?
I have family that I know that I grew up with. They're married. They treat their wives great. I see this person firsthand every single day. But also, I have family members that don't. So I've seen the both worlds. So there are good guys out there, and there are bad guys out there. That's life. We all know this.
Right.
So yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say this whole bad guy, bad girl situation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This whole thing to find a good woman. How do you find a good woman, and how do you know if you know what I mean? You'll be the right guy for her.
I'll do the same thing. I'll vet them out. I'll see her morality. I'll see her values. I'll see her our compatibility. Do we have the same goals? Do we complement each other? Do we have the same attitude? Do we do things the same way? I'll see the way she treats her parents. I see the way she treats her family. I mean, there's a whole just for me. I just want like a woman that's nice, that's friendly, that's not promiscuous, not out there sleeping with a lot of women, a lot of guys out there. I just want a simple, and she has to believe in God. It's real simple. And she has all that.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Let's just try to flip the narrative on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you met a girl that you like, but you ended up turning bad. Are you still gonna blame her? Like, oh no, she chose me to have a kid with, right? Let's just say, for argument's sake,
yeah,
but put yourself in the situation that you're debating about, right?
Yeah,
you have a kid with this woman. 2 to 3 years, right? Financially stable. You finally came up on that. Would you still blame her for choosing you if you put her in that situation?
Yes, I would still. But the thing is, what are you doing? But what you're doing right now, you're using hypotheticals and you're using an extreme. So the thing is,
extreme.
That's to meet all the.
Ain't nothing extreme about reality, my dog.
So what
you gotta realize, like, hey, bro, what if I'm the one that messed up, right? Let's say
I mean, what I'm saying is, a men today, a woman today a woman today is having sex with a man that's married before marriage. No, a woman today having sex with a man
that's what I proposed. That's not the situation I proposed.
But you said that I have all these criteria that I said, and then I met it and it didn't work out. Right? That's what you said.
No, I'm not saying it didn't work out. I'm saying you screwed it up. Yeah, I'm saying that you're the bad guy. It's still her fault.
And she leaves her, and she leaves the relationship.
No, you basically destroyed the relationship. There's nothing to leave because let's say you destroyed it. It's still her fault. Yeah,
if she chose me, it's still her fault. Because as a single mom, if she chose me and I ended up leaving, and the baby is left with her as a single mom, that's her responsibility. She has to take it.
So there's no responsibility on your end to accept, like, hey, man, I'm the one that ruined the relationship that I had with this woman to fornicate and create a child. You have zero responsibility.
But that's why I have the things about these men, but marriage, stability, and
you have all that in this situation. In this specific situation.
But that's, I mean, that's a hypothetical. Like,
it's not. That's what we're talking about.
That's not. But I don't want to talk about. Let's talk about what's going on in real life. Going on in real life. women are.
You're telling me a situation like that is not realistic.
Yes, because if you look at the data, women are not having sex with guys. They're having premarital sex. That's a fact. They're having sex with guys that are not financially
So you're telling me that
stable.
every woman that has a vagina walking on God's green earth is having sex before marriage? Every single one of them.
There's data out there in research.
Screw the data. I'm saying you are doubling down.
You can screw the data, but the data is the data. It's there. 90% of
data is data, but how do you know if it's valid? How do you validate it? Did you do the research? Did you have it validated by people that actually study this, that have the credentials to do this? Because, bro, you're throwing all these numbers at me. It doesn't make sense because you have not provided any type of website.
Do you have not
provided any type of index. Of course I have a car.
Did you validate the car to make sure it's safe, or you just trust the company?
Yes, I'm a truck driver. I know what is a good, safe.
Did you make the car? Did you put the parts together? Did you make sure that everything's safe? Exactly.
No.
Exactly. But
those are two different things.
But you're telling me
things.
But you're telling me I didn't do the research. Why you trust the data? But the data is there. People did the research the same way that those.
But the difference is, I use my car for my own personal use and my own job.
Yeah, so
you're using data to throw at me. It's like you're building things with paper sticks.
That's what's paper. But that's a reflection.
Wooden sticks on sand.
That's a reflection of what's going on. The data shows that 90% of women are sexually active.
Well, you're really about to tell me that the information that you found off of Wikipedia is validated.
It's not a Wikipedia. These are research studies done by people. They do this. They survey thousands of people.
So let's say if I threw stats at you, would you believe me off the bat?
No, I'll listen to it. And then, like I said, I'll do my own research after this. So after this, do your own research. I'll put the links up and do your own research. So I'm not here to debate the data. If you don't want to believe the data, it's fine.
Bro,
go do your research.
Your whole stance is dependent on this data that you are talking about. Don't tell me it's not about the data. So now you are just contradicting yourself.
Why am I contradicting?
You're contradicting.
That women are not having premarital sex?
Okay, so they're having premarital sex with guys. So it takes basically two peas in a pod.
Okay, so if you have premarital sex with a guy, that's a big risk the guy can leave. If you that's why I say.
How do you know? What if the sex is so good, he wants to wife her up? What if she got the oosey juicy fresh out of coconut juice? Something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you truly know?
Because single moms, 50% of single moms have never been married ever. So there's 50% of single moms have never been married, and 30% of single moms have been divorced. So these women, the 50% of these women are not getting married by these men. The data shows that. There's data on that. So the guys are having sex with them, I'm not marrying them and leaving them after. That's the data. You wanted the data, I gave it to you. However you want to feel about it.
You just spoke the data. You didn't give it to me. You just said it. There's a difference. Okay. Right? There's a difference. And besides, to add on top of that, I don't know if you got this data from a guy named Mark who still lives in his mom's basement.
But like I said, you're free. Like if you want to do your research, go do your research. I will put the links.
I want you to provide me the links, like you said. Send the links, and I want to go ahead and I want to look at it. I'm not saying I have the credentials to validate every piece of information on there, but I'll for surely take a peep at it because, bro, you throwing more numbers than my math teacher.
No worry, I understand. This is what I do. This is what I do. I do this as a living. This is so I do this stuff. So I don't expect you to know because that's not what you do for a living. So this is what I do. I talk about these subjects all the time, so I prepare myself. So, and like I said, if you want to do your research, go do it. You're more than likely to it. I will leave the links below. You can look at it. But like I said, everything you said right now, like I told you before, it's very hypothetical. What if this, that? What if this, that? I'm just going to stick to what's really going on today in the real world.
But that's the thing. You don't really know what's going on. You just took numbers that you found on a website and now you're running off with it. That's the difference.
Yeah, because numbers do reflect of what it represents.
No, it does not, because you're not out in the field looking at every single person that's a single mom and you're like, hey, how did you end up being a single mom? Okay, check this, that, boom.
No.
How did you end up a single mom?
Because like I said, what is a single mom? A single mom is a woman that doesn't have a man in her life. She's single, the man left, the biological father left. That's what a single mom is, right? So 50% of these things, if you were married, you wouldn't be considered a single mom. You'd be married, right?
Married, a mom of 2 kids.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be a single mom. So if you married a guy, you won't be considered a single mom because the topic at hand, we were talking about single moms. So, hey, but hey, at the end of the day, man, for the time's sake, I really appreciate the convo. I do want to give some time for the other people out there. What's your name? Was it Tu?
Yes, sir.
All right, appreciate it. EPA, appreciate it too. All right, have a good day, man. Have a good day, man. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, like FYI, let's not talk about hypotheticals, man. Like I should have just let's talk about reality, what's going on in the real world. You know, we're gonna sit here and talk about hypotheticals. What if this, and this, and this? That is why I talk about data, because whenever you talk about hypotheticals, you're talking about you're subjective. You just talk about things that's not reflective of what's going on in the real world. So that's why I talk about data, because this research is actually done in the real world, what's going on in real life. But yeah. Let me see. Next person in line, Serena Danoi. You ready? Serena, be ready. Serena. Serena. Yeah, everybody's watching right now live. Hello? Can you hear me? Hey, can you flip your phone? I can't hear you.
Record. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Phone's
Hey.
upside down right now. Can you flip it so that way you can be
Oh, this way?
There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
So your name's Serena, right?
Yes, Serena. Hi.
How you doing, Serena? Thank you for jumping on.
Good.
What's your thoughts?
Hello?
Okay, so I didn't catch all of the previous conversations that you had. So, but
hey, can you flip your phone? Hey, do you have the YouTube live on the background?
Yeah, sorry. Let me just
I can hear the echo.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
I didn't catch all of the previous conversations that you had. So I'm sorry if some of the stuff I say is redundant, but
well, no worries. Go ahead.
So some of the stuff that you said, you've clarified a lot about your point about how women do take responsibility. When a woman has a choice to be with a deadbeat or to leave, right? What the problem with that I have is that you are so focused on criticizing the women and not criticizing the men enough. So I just want, I'm not here to argue, because
yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
You're set in your ways, and you seem very opinionated. And so I just want to understand, like, why are we criticizing the women so much about being single mothers and not criticizing the men who need to be better fathers?
Okay, that's your question?
Yeah.
All right, no worries. Thank you for asking. So, number one, I'm not criticizing the women, right? And I understand it's a very sensitive topic, so it might sound like that. I just pointed the accountability on them, because, like I said, the reason why I don't talk about the men, because like you emphasized it in the beginning with the other guests as well, because the women, you guys carry the risk of getting pregnant, right? And when a woman gets pregnant, 90% of the time, you're going to end up having custody of the child. You have full rights to the child. So you're going to end up raising the child more than likely, right? And because you're going to end up raising the child more than likely, that's why I'm knowing for the full fact that there's a lot of bad men out there that's not capable fathers. And because the men don't bear the risk of pregnancy, because when a man leaves a relationship, he don't have to take the kids. But when a woman is pregnant, she's more than likely going to be with those kids forever. So because you have that burden, I'm not saying the kids are burden, I'm just saying you have the risk of being pregnant, then be super selective. be super selective, because if you end up making the wrong choice in a guy, there's a lot of the repercussions is a lot of repercussions that come with it of being a single mom. And that's why I said be super selective. And I listed all the things that a woman needs to do to make sure she finds the right guy. And I listed the data behind it of the probability. If you do these things, if you vet these guys out, there's a higher chance that you're going to succeed and also be in a long-term committed marriage. But that's why I'm saying, do I want the men to step up? Yes. Do I expect men to take responsibility? Do I believe that myself when one day if I have kids? Of course, my parents have been together their whole life. But in the real world, the men are not doing that. The men are not doing that.
Right. That's
So,
why that's what I don't understand though, is that why you feel so obligated. Because I feel like we live in a society where we're so focused on trying to better the women. We're not focused on trying to not criticize, but like trying to tell men to be better. You know what I mean? Like we're so focused on, oh, well, it's your fault that you're a single mother because you chose to be with this lame ass dude, right? We're not, but that's just what I don't understand, is that we're so focused on the women. We're not focused on how men can be better, just be better for women. You know what I mean? So that's what I don't understand.
No, I do believe that men can be better than women, but on this specific topic particularly, because of women, you guys will end up, if you get pregnant, more than likely you're going to end up raising a child, right? Statistically, right?
Right.
So because you end up with that risk, men don't have that risk. You do. Then please, that's why I'm telling all women, please be super selective of the men you choose to allow and have sex with, because there's a lot of repercussions and consequences if you don't. So, and that's what I'm saying is, and if you choose to have sex with a guy, especially modern day dating, like I mentioned a lot of the previous videos, not the previous people that was on this podcast, 90% of women today are sexually active, right? So if you're choosing out there just having sex, giving up, and never fully vetting this guy, making sure that he marries you, making sure he's financially stable, and make sure you invest at least 2 or 3 years with them to make sure you see all these negative behaviors, toxic traits, and do all these things before you allow a guy to have sex with you, then you have a great chance of finding a suitable mate. But the problem is today, women are not doing that today. They're just having sex without thinking. Even the girl that was the first, I don't know if you watched the first girl that was on.
No,
she came on the podcast and this is what she said. Why should a woman care about her future? If it's her body, she can just have sex. That's literally what she said.
Mm-hmm.
You know how naive and how ignorant that sounds in real life schemes. In the real world, it's like I should just have sex and not worry about the future. That's literally what this girl said. And I'm just listening to her like, this is why so many girls out there are having sex with that type of mentality. Just having a child is a long-term investment. Unfortunately, we live in a society today that we no longer see children or having sex is a long-term investment. We just see it as a casual thing. But the thing is, sex is for me, it's a very special thing you do with the person you love, and sex should be something that you should value so much, because the opportunity of creating a child is a long-term investment. But we live in a society today that people just don't think it's just sex. And then the baby comes out, and then they're running around like, oh, whoa, what now?
Right.
But you made your choice. Yeah.
Right. That makes sense, where like, a woman has to choose whether to raise her baby or to be with a deadbeat ass dad, right? That makes sense, that where you say that responsibility lies on the women. So, but that was just my problem with your point of view. And I think that was a lot of other people's problem, was that you were so focused, on single mothers being single mothers because it's their fault. I didn't understand why you were so focused on the women and not the men.
Did you watch the full clip or just a small portion of it?
No, I just watched the small. I don't know. I got bits and pieces. I tried to watch the full interview, but I only got that main part was what I was watching. So that's what I got. But yeah, I just didn't understand like why you were so focused on that, because in society, do you disagree? Do you disagree with what I said, or do you believe, or you have a different opinion? I mean, when you clarify it,
yeah,
I agree. Like it the responsibility lies on the women, but it's just sucks that she has like lame ass choices, sucky choices to choose from, you know what I mean? To either be single or to be with a man who's not willing to step up as a father. And so that's where I'm like, maybe if men never gave the choice to choose to be single or to be with, you know, a man that's not ready to be a father, then the whole problem with single mothers being more common as time goes on wouldn't be as big of a problem if men could just, you know what I mean, step up and be better. But I get where you're coming from, where like it's the mom's responsibility now, because if she chooses to leave the guy and be a single mom, then that's her choice, and she has to deal with the consequences of sleeping with a man who's not ready to be a father. That makes sense. But my problem was just that I feel like we're so focused on women, on what women are doing wrong and not what men are doing wrong. So
that's why I said it's because you women out there, because you guys end up being with the child, then I'm telling women, please be super selective with the men. You don't fall for the casual sex, because it's not working. It's not working.
Right.
The casual sex shit is not working. Right.
Right.
If it's not working, what's the logical thing to do? Do the opposite. Hold out and vet. If you hold out if you hold out and vet the guys to make sure they meet all these criteria I just mentioned, then you don't have sex. If it works out, great. And if it doesn't work out, you end up leave that relationship without a baby, and we just move on to the next person.
Right. That makes sense. Where now I'm seeing that you're just looking out for women. But yeah, my problem was just that I think we need to do better. I think the men just need to do better as stepping up to be a father. But that's the thing. That's our problem. Like, if like we're really left with this choice of choosing between a man who is not ready to be a father, and women don't have a choice to be a mother or not. You know what I mean? I mean, they have a choice, but to give up the baby or to keep the baby, most are going to keep the baby, right? And women are forced to step up, and men have a choice to leave or step up, which sucks. So, but I see where you're coming from, where the whole it relies on the mother. That makes sense to me. But that's all. As
like I said, I tell women straight up. I mean, I'm a guy too, so I told men will say anything they want you to hear to have sex with you. That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm a guy. I tell women all the time. Men are ruthless. There's a lot of just want sex, and with everything you need to hear, and that is why I have those criteria to eliminate the men that are bullshitting you.
Okay. Yeah. But you agree though that men are the problem.
But yeah, I do believe that it is part of the problem. I do believe men should step up, but when it comes to being a single mom, and because you carry the risk of getting pregnant and being left with a child, that is why I tell women be super, super selective today when it comes to allowing men to have sex with you. And if you do that, the probability of attracting a good guy is very high. But if you're just out there giving it up and not vetting these full men and not doing your due diligence and making sure that these guys are capable fathers, and you just go out there and just have sex, then there's a high possibility he may end up being a deadbeat dad. But if he ends up being a deadbeat dad, choosing to have sex, then you have to take responsibility for that. Right.
That makes sense. And but my point is that it just sucks that she has to.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I have family members like that. It sucks. But I'm just talking about life. It's and that's why a lot of people, like, when they listen to this, it's hard to hear, because I understand people have experiences, but I'm just speaking on the truth of what's happening in the real world, and I want women to avoid these situations and being super selective of who they have sex with.
Right. That makes sense. But yeah, I just think that a lot of people just have a problem with the way that you're coming off, because it doesn't sound like you're looking out for women. But when you clarify, when I hear that information that you provide, it makes sense to me. So, but yeah, I just wanted to come on here and.
All right.
I think, So thanks for having me, Will.
Thank you. And if you have friends that hate me, please tell them I don't hate women.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a good night. Okay.
Okay, you too. See ya.
Bye. All right. All right, next one. You know what? I know it's almost the end of my podcast, but I'm gonna invite one of my boys because I had a chance to talk to all my everybody. But there's a guy I know, Savage. If you're listening, Savage, I'm gonna add you right now, Savage Island. Reading the audio. Yo, my boy Savage.
Yo, Coco.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Coco, man.
What's up, man?
I love you.
Love you too, my man.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that I pray peace and love and happiness over everybody here. Will, I love you with all my heart. And maybe a month or two ago, nobody gave a fuck about you.
Yeah.
The minute you get on TikTok, say one thing, all of a sudden, there's my boy getting famous. So I don't. First of all,
real quick, can you mute the YouTube live so it doesn't echo? I can hear it.
Hi, Will.
Hey, Titi, Saipe.
Bebe.
Malo, Masti.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. I just heard the YouTube live echo.
Yeah. Well, first I wanted to say I respect your opinion because it's your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It invited everybody to now have this conversation because there was no awareness about it.
Yeah.
Whether you're Tongan, Asian, Mexican, Palangi, it doesn't apply to just us. It applies to everybody. And I think right now the scope is too small on one box.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more about getting out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as your opinion goes, I heard what you said and I respect it. Do I agree with it? No, but that's not the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would like to present is removing the statistics, removing the numbers, removing the science, the religion, the public education, removing all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put the human element into it, the heart back into it, the emotion back into it, morality, right?
Yeah.
I, as a man, know if I'm trying to have sex with this girl, what do I have to offer, right? I know my values. I know what I have to offer. And if it's not much, I'm not going to tell her that. I'm not. And the reason why that is, I want it to benefit me. I want to fuck you. I shouldn't give you my reasons of why. But if I wine and dine you and, make it sound as good as possible, hopefully and lucky enough, I get in those pants. Now, am I thinking about the future? Am I thinking about how I need to take care of this girl? No, because momentarily and temporarily, I just want to fulfill my needs. I want to be satisfied. The problem comes with the lack of experience and knowledge. You get that call 6 months later, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Now, I'm unprepared. But because the lack of a father role, an uncle, or whatever the case might be, I'm unprepared, so I run away from responsibility. Now, I heard what you said with the woman being more selective. Yes, that is the solution, but it's not the only solution. And I believe the problem we're all having here is we don't have enough solution. I only pray that whatever solution we do find, it's effective. There could be lesbian parents, there could be gay parents, there could be adoption, there could be, going back home to the islands. Whatever the case is, it's about the child now. So community comes into play when I think about it. Science will sit there and observe the situation, but they will not help. Yes, there are programs, there's abortion, there are outreach programs for people to take care of these problems, but that's just it. It's too many problems, not enough solution. And I only pray that whatever comes from this, Will, I know you're a good person, and I know you will help the community. And I only pray that people understand your heart, not so much what you say, but where it comes from. So with that being said, Togo, I just want to tell you I love you. I pray peace and understanding over everybody here. And that's all I really have to say. I love you, Togo.
Hey, love you, man. I really appreciate it, Toko. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, man. Really meant that.
Have a good one.
Ofato.
Obrigado.
Yep. Hey, man, that's if you guys don't know who that is, that's Savage Island. Please definitely check him out. One of the best guys I know. He has great content on social media, talks about real life shit that goes on in the Pacific Islander community. Pretty much like me, we talk about very uncomfortable topics. So, hey, please, if you support everything I do, and please go support him and his wife as well. They have their own podcast, the Aisle 7 podcast, I believe, and also they have a page on YouTube channel. I'll make sure I have the links below. This is one of my good friends, and he just always keeps it real with me. And yeah, my Ofato Liti, and that was good. It was really good to connect with them. All right, let's move on to the next person. All right, next person. Let's go with Ika doing Ika Tui Halang Ningie. I'm about to add you right now. All right, Ika, you ready? Ika, can you hear me? If you're watching, Ika Tui Halang Ningie. Hopefully I get that right. Hello, Ika. Ika, yo. Can you hear me? Hello. Ika. All right. Next person, Shea Latu. I'm about to add you, Shea Latu. Add you right now. Shea Latu. Hello. I can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Hello, Shea Latu.
Can
Hey,
you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for jumping on. What's your name, by the way?
Shayla Tu.
Oh, Shea Latu. So yeah, let's get right into it. Shea, what are your thoughts on the topic?
Okay, so I'm just gonna get straight to the point.
Mhm.
I don't think you're a bad guy or anything like that. Like, I'm not gonna come on here and be immature, yell at you, whatever. But I'm gonna voice, my opinion, whether it's disrespectful to you or not.
Go ahead.
Likewise with you.
Yeah, you're entitled. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was watching a little bit, of your live video before with other people that I talked. So if I, repeat something, just, my apologies if I do, but just answer it.
Go ahead.
But so with the, responsibility on women, single moms, blah, 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 it was mentioned that, like, in an abusive marriage, would you shame a woman for leaving? And you put it as to, oh, that's not a realistic situation, when it is. In the real world, marriages definitely aren't perfect. There definitely isn't real love in marriages sometimes. And do you agree with me? Do you agree with me that sometimes marriage isn't 100% liable for anything? Because it's not. Truthfully, it's not. I agreed with the guy that marriage isn't key to, oh, I'm so committed to you. Yes, to some people it is, which I'll agree with that. I agree with, in some cases it definitely is for women, some women. But I feel like your whatever you may say, opinion or facts or whatever, you try to represent all women. Like, not even just single women, but all women as something that, oh, this is the only way they do things. They go out, they just seek men for this purpose, and that's 100% their fault. And I feel like you represent that in all women, which is not true. You know, all women are not like that. And I do agree that there is some women that are like that, but definitely not all women, especially single moms. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay.
So
What do you mean?
like,
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
so like I said, with the different situations of all your criteria, like you said, marriage, virginity, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
What's it called? Is that shameful to leave, and it's 100% their blame on a woman if they leave an abusive marriage when they didn't know this man was abusive? They could have had all criterias of a perfect man. And like you said, many men are very manipulative, and they will do years of manipulation in order to gain the women that they want, you know, and then they leave. You know, I had parents that for years they were so in love, got married, turned abusive, and he left, and that was that. But are you gonna sit here and say like, oh, it's that woman's fault because she didn't really see the real him that he didn't portray for years and years? He didn't portray that side. Okay, so you tell me how you feel about that.
It'd be very interesting to me to see how many women out there that are abusive relationships. But they, like I said, but they met the criteria that I met. So which means that they didn't have sex with them until he marries him, until he marries her, and make sure he's financially stable and make sure he's invested 2-3 years. If she did all that and he became abusive, I'm interested to see what happened. But usually but like I said, that's why I say is abusive relationships. If you wait till you don't have how many men out there how many men out there, if they're abusive, you tell them that I'm not gonna have sex with you until you have married me. So that's why I have all those criteria that if you make sure that these guys, I don't know the abusive rates. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about abusive because I don't know. I never did my research on the abusive thing. I don't know the data. How many % of relationships today are married relationships today between men and women are abusive? If the man is abusing or the woman abusive, but I'll still stand by what I said. Is if you had sex with a guy without getting married, if you had sex with a guy without spending at least 2 or 3 years with them, without doing your due diligence to make sure, and he turns out to be abusive, then I would still stick with what I said as you didn't do your due diligence to make sure to vet that out of him. So that's why I would say with that. But I would go ahead.
But that, you know, you're still saying like if a woman didn't say this, and you know, didn't make sure they were married. I was talking about the situation where they are married, whatever the 2-3 years, whatever they go through that, they're married. Okay, that's the thing. He turns out not to be the person he is and leaves. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying before whether, okay, well, they need to get married. So she knows that's committed. So she knows that he isn't leaving. We're not talking about that. We're talking about marriage, legal papers, everything. They're already sealed, whatever, you know, not any of that before.
And she chooses to leave to be a single mom?
Yes, because you're going to stay in a relationship where a man beats you, where a man, you know, says he loves you, but still puts his hands on you. And you're going to involve your child in something that isn't healthy like that, but you still bear the responsibility on that woman because, oh, you didn't see that, so it's your fault. You didn't see that coming, so it's your fault.
So I would say, like, when I say responsibility, it means you just picked the wrong guy. So what?
But how do you know that you picked the wrong guy? That's what I'm saying. You're still directing the question and the whole conversation into somewhere else where I'm saying this man seemed so perfect. You've met all your criterias in this man.
I know.
Do you get what I'm saying? Exactly. So how can you say then you picked the wrong man? Well, I'm sorry, that man fit all my criterias. Like you said, he could have fit all your criterias, and you're still going to say, oh, well, she picked the wrong man. She should have chose different.
I would still say she picked the wrong man and she's responsible for it. But the thing is, is that every relationship that's reflective in America, the majority? Is every relationship abusive?
No.
So that's an exception. So exception doesn't make the rule. So when I when I talk about like women, like you said that if you feel like I'm talking about all women, I'm talking about the majority. So when I say
But
most
how do you
women
know
are,
that's majority? How do you know
because
that's
there's
majority? Because
because
you're
there's
telling
data
me,
behind
because you're
there's
telling
data behind.
me, okay, so but you said you haven't really researched any
For the abusive part. So I don't know
exactly. So how do you know? That's exactly what I'm saying. Like you're saying all this research backs you up, but what
since you
about?
brought it up, but since you brought it up, that's why I was asking you. Do you know I didn't bring up the abusive, you did. So if you bringing it up, do you know how many women? Do you know how many percentage of relationships today in America that's abusive? Do you have that data? Because I don't know, because I didn't bring up the topic.
I don't.
Okay.
Neither of us would know that, which I agree to. But it's like the same thing as that you can have data and stuff, even for your, like you said, like majority, like you said, oh, majority of data is to this real life thing of marriages. Okay, that's there can be data, and there can be data for abuse also. But what I'm trying to get at is there's going to be different scenarios in marriages, and that's why I'm asking you, because like you said, 100% single moms bear that responsibility, which on some cases, like I told you, I agree in some cases that single moms do not intend to get pregnant, but it happens. And the father doesn't want anything to do with it, and she knew that it wasn't a good guy, and it happens. I agree that in some cases that does happen, because it does happen. That's real life situations, that's real world shit. But what I'm saying is there's so many different scenarios, and you're still going to tell me that it's 100% the woman's fault in every scenario.
Because what's the definition of single mom? A single mom is a woman that has sex and the biological father left her and they're not married, right? That's the definition of a single mom. If she was married, you wouldn't be a single mom. You'd be a married woman, right? So can we agree with that? The definition of single mom is a woman that's not married, but the biological father is not there. She ends up raising the child on her own, right? Exactly. So, all right. So, and that's why I have the data is 50% of single moms are not married. So 50% of single moms are not married, which means that the guy had no intentions of marrying. He just wanted to hit it and quit it. So if 50% of single moms have never been married, so that means that's why I bring up one of the criteria. Make sure these guys are marrying. If the guys marry you, you avoid being a single mom. Make sure before you give up the womb, before you have sex with a guy, make sure he marries you. If you do that, you wouldn't be considered a single mom. You just be a wife that has kids with that. You want to be a single mom. And then also the second reason was make sure he's financially stable, because once you get married with a guy, if you want a guy to keep around, you want a marriage to work. On the data shows that 80% of divorces, the primary reason is financial stability, finances. So once you married a guy and he's shown the commitment, if you want the marriage to work and not get divorced, you need to find a guy that's financially stable, because 80% of divorces today in America, the reason why initiated by women, is because of financial reasons. So not only marry the guy, but make sure you're financially stable. But if you sleep with a guy, never seeing what kind of job it is, if he's ambitious, if he has a career, if he's going somewhere with his life, if he's just a deadbeat, a bum, then you slept with a guy that's a deadbeat father that has no job or has no career, then more likelihood that guy's not gonna be a suitable father. And the third thing is make sure you spend 2-3 years investment into the guy. 2 or 3 years. If you invest with a guy for 2-3 years, you have time to see his toxic behaviors, see all these things that you can overlook. And of course, you're still withholding from the sex. You haven't had the sex with a guy yet, so you're not emotionally attached to the guy. Because once you have sex with a guy, women, we know that we get involved, we overlook the toxic behaviors because we're now emotionally connected. Like we abstain from sex, you can look at them very objectively. So if you spend 2 or 3 years with them, everything is good, he's financially stable, and also the guy has married you before you have sex, then if he does all these things and you go with that guy, the data show that he has a high probability of being a father. But the thing is, women are not doing that. Women are having premarital sex, just having sex with any guy. They're having sex with guys that are not financially stable, because 24% of millennials from 21 to 29, age of 29 are only 24% of financially independent. Everybody else relies on their parents, and they can't support themselves. So people are having sex between the age of 21 to 26. These guys are, both the men and the women, both of them are not financially stable. So that's a big liability when it comes to raising a child. So that's why I have the data to support it, that if you want to be with a guy and it's going to marry you and long term, so you avoid being a single mom, Make sure you have sex with guys who's gonna marry you, take you serious. Make sure you have sex with guys that have a job, have a career that can support you, and also have sex with guys that you invested your time with them to communicate, see what if you're compatible, what his morals are, what is valuable, is he toxic, is he got anger issues, all these things. But the data shows that women are not doing that. Women are not doing none of that. You're just having sex with guys. They're not married, premarital sex, having sex with guys. They're not financially supportive, independent on themselves, and they're not willing to invest 2 or 3 years into a guy. They just meet a guy who can have sex, and once you have sex, you're just forced to get married, or forced to be in a relationship with that guy. So that's what's happening right now, and that's why there's a lot of single moms out there. So that's what I'm telling women is like, be super selective. Please don't just have any sex with guys without vetting these men out, because once you have a child, it's a long-term investment. You're gonna be with that child forever. So would it be very logical to plan out your, because I know people today, you're just having sex with no plan for the future. I had a girl that was on the podcast today, the first girl, if you go back and watch, she literally said that. She's like, why would I care about the future? It's my body. I should just have sex with who I want. That's literally what she said. That's the type of mentality a lot of girls are having today. They're just having sex without no thinking about the future and the repercussions. If a baby happens if a baby happens to happen, she gets pregnant. So if that's what's happening right now in today's society and it's not working, and a lot of single moms are being created every single day, then we need to do what's opposite. Do opposite of what the decisions of what women are doing today that's causing them to be single moms. Do the opposite. And everything I just mentioned is the opposite of how single moms today are choosing when it comes to being selected with their men, and why they're ending up being single moms and the guy not marrying them and leaving. So that's all I'm saying is be super selective of the men you are, and make sure he marries you, make sure he's financially stable, and make sure you're spending at least 2 or 3 years investment into him, and make sure that he's not toxic. And this is without sex. So if you do all that and it doesn't work out, what happens? Great news. The good news is you can leave the relationship and you're not pregnant, and you can just move on to the next guy. But if you don't do these things, you end up pregnant. The relationship doesn't work out, then you become a single mom. And that's why I say the 100% accountability is on the woman.
Okay, so that criteria that you have, you're telling me that exact criteria right there, that will make you have a strong bond, no fatherless kids, won't leave you, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the data shows that there's a high probability the guy will stick around, and it's gonna work out.
Okay, and what I'm still trying to get at is that they still leave, they divorce you, they leave you for someone else. That's what I'm trying to get at. You're still gonna put the blame.
Talk about divorce?
Yeah, I mean,
so that
because that's what happens, and that's what happens in some marriage. And like the man's not happy or whatever, they leave, they have an affair, divorce, single mom, right there. That's a single mom.
So I will. That's why I have my pushback to that is, divorces. 80% of divorces, over 80% of divorces, are initiated by the women. So the narrative that the men are leaving the relationship is not that the women are choosing to divorce the men. You go look it up. You can look it up yourself. 80% of all divorces. So if, like I said, if they choose to leave the relationship, the responsibility falls back on her. She chose to end it. She ended the relationship.
But there's reasons behind why. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty sure there's women that want to leave their marriage, for whatever reason. May that be an affair on the man's part. Okay, and finance or whatever. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is all that criteria you're saying, financial, that's like you said, that's important. Make sure financially stable. Well, what else was your criteria?
Make sure they marry you before you give it up.
Okay, before sex, interactions, any of that, get married. Again, you do all of those things, everything in your criteria pool, all of that. And he still flips the switch as, oh, this is not the man that I thought that I married. This is not the man that I thought I fell in love with. And there's a lot of men that change into toxic men, and they're evil. I've seen it for myself. And
I know.
Right. And that is not bared on a woman. that man right there, that's him. You know, he's the one that manipulated a woman into thinking that he was the perfect man and financially stable, you know, stayed until marriage, you know, to have that sexual interaction, like you said, that sexual intimacy, you know, stayed through it all, and, you know, still decided to leave. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is definitely not the woman's fault. Like, you can't sit here and tell me and say like, okay, well, you know, you need to spend the 2-3 years of investment. Yeah, there's many people that date for so many years and then get married and then find out that is not the person that I thought you were. That is not the person that I thought I married. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, but the thing is, the data shows, and there's barely any women that are all doing all three. That's what I'm saying is, either they do one, either they only get married but never check the stability, or they never check his 2 years to make sure he's emotionally stable. Either they married for the money, but they never got married, or they never invested 2 years. So then there's not many, there's barely any women doing all three. They're only doing one. So that's those three things I just mentioned are one of the primary reasons why things don't work out. So that's what I'm saying is, if you do all three, the data shows that there is a great chance the guy's gonna be a good guy. But the thing is, most women today are just doing one of them because they're not fully vetting these men. There's not many women out there that's fully vetting these men fully, and also to make sure that they're selecting. It's 2020, they want people just casual sex. Women out here just having casual sex, and men also. But that's what I'm saying is, what you're saying right now. What if he meets all of this? And yeah, that's a very hypothetical. Is it possible there's a guy like that exists? Yeah, but is there a lot of guys like? There's a lot of guys like that. No, that's like a few. That's not like the majority of why single moms today are single moms.
But how do you know that? Like, you're over here telling me like, oh yeah, like that situation, yeah, that's real, but that's not a huge population of men or this, but it's just like neither of us, and I'll say me too, neither of us would know that, because we definitely don't go out on the streets like that man said, and hey, how's your marriage? Can you tell me, you know, this and that? And, you know, you'd have to ask every single person in a marriage or even out of a marriage, oh, what happened? You know, so neither of us are gonna know that, and that's a fact, you know, because both of us neither know like any of all of couples' problems and what happened. And also, you know, you're saying most girls do this one thing. I'm speaking on the women that do all three, you know, that do everything right. And that's what I'm, every time we talk about, okay, every time we stare towards men and not, you know, bearing the responsibility or changing in the aspect of finally getting married and, you know, like I said, totally switching face, not the same person they were before. It's like directed back, well, women need to do this one thing, or most women do this one thing, so it doesn't turn out right. Okay, yeah, there's some women, that maybe only do one or none of your, you know, none of those criteria. I'm talking about the women that do all those things, that do it right, like I said. And you're still gonna say that it's bared on women when it is the man's fault in that situation. Yeah, I literally could, you know, be in a relationship for 5 years with a man, be totally in love. I mean, you could be in a relationship with a woman for years and think that she is the love of your life, you know, your soulmate, she's perfect, she's wifey material. And then, you know, you did everything right. Waited for sex until marriage, you know, made sure each other was financially stable on likewise, like a female. You looking for a female. I'm pretty sure that it'd be nice, you know, on a man's side to look for women with, you know, equal traits. You know, they do good for themselves, they have good jobs, they, you know, they're educated, you know, and they get money for themselves, you know. They are seeming prepared for a child to bring into a world like that, you know, where someone is stable, you know. And that's for us looking into men and you guys looking into women. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
No,
so that's what I'm questioning. It's just like, okay, yeah, women, what if we did everything right and the man still chose to leave or still did something?
But that's why you just said it. I know a lot of women that did all my criteria, but that's why I'm telling you, the data show the women are not doing that. That's what I'm saying is like,
Okay,
maybe you know, maybe
why
you know
saying
one.
data shows women as if it's all women? Because let me tell you, that is not all women. That is not all single
No,
moms.
like I said, it's a majority. When I say all women, it's a majority. I'm talking about the
Okay,
majority.
so let's not. Okay, so what about non-majority? Because there's still women outside of that majority circle. There's still women out of that circle, out of the most, what you say, that doesn't do the right thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk out of the majority. You're still gonna say they're 100% responsible for being a single mom in those criteria that didn't work with that man, because that man, you know,
yeah,
chose the other way, chose to flip the
yeah,
switch when it got married.
yeah. I would still say that it's the woman's fault because at the end of
How?
the day,
Because you're telling me
because
that
you're
those
choosing.
criterias, so then your criterias fall. Like all your criterias
Oh,
fall then. How does that
no,
not fall? How does that not
I
fall?
never said my criteria is perfect. I never said my criteria is guaranteed, because life is not guaranteed. Nothing's perfect, but there's a high probability. What the data shows, if you do
But you said that
said,
was the
you have
right way. You said that was the right way. Did you not? Did you not?
that,
You said those
that is
criteria is the right way to go.
no, that's the better way to go. That's
No,
the
you said that
high.
was the right way to go. That's
Okay,
doing it the right
I don't know
way.
if I don't know if I said that, then I'll recorrect myself. It's the better way to go, right? So because like I said, there's no guarantees in life. That's a fact. There is nothing guaranteed in life. But even when you're selecting a partner, there's no guarantee. But there are things you can do that are very practical, very logical, that you can do to vet out your partner to make sure you have a highest probability that he's going to stick around. The problem with today is a lot of choices a lot of women are making, because you bear the burden of being pregnant. A lot of the choices you're making, it's not a high probability choice that you're going to attract the right guy. If you date a guy, if you have sex with a guy that has not married you, there's a high probability he's going to leave. If you have sex with a guy and bear a child with a guy that's not financially stable, there's a high probability that won't work out. If you have sex with a guy if you haven't at least spent time 2-3 years with him, there's a high probability of him working out. So if you combine all those three things, that's a big probability of not working. So the best choice, which you do, if you want to select a guy, if you're a quality guy, is do all these three things. Are there gonna be guys that do that? But yeah, that's a small minority. But I'm just saying is you have a better chance, because right now what women are doing, because there are single moms being created every single day, they're making choices that have a high probability of the guy leaving. So what I'm saying is make better choices. There's always a better choice in everything in life. You make a choice, there's always a better choice. So if the choices right now of women today in America being single moms, if we want to eliminate that, then we need to find a better choice.
Right.
That's why I said
we're talking about the better choices. And I said to you, okay, that majority that's not in that majority of, like you said, that doesn't do the right choices. I'm saying I'm trying to speak to of that other people out of the other women out of that majority that does all the right things. And you're still going to tell me, well, okay, but if they're not married, no, we discussed that. They're married. They're in that position of marriage.
Oh.
And they did everything right. Like I said, they fit into that high popularity 3 criteria thing. And it still didn't work because of the man. And
it didn't work. Yeah.
Right. So then that is not 100% of single mom's fault. Can you agree with that? Because if you're not agreeing with that, then
yes.
You're contradicting your argument. So then out of that majority of women that do, have sex before marriage, like I said, I agreed with you on the aspects that some women do go out and they just have sex to have sex, just like men do.
Not some, there's a majority. Majority of women are doing it.
Okay, 90%, majority, since
90% of women are sexually active.
Okay. So yeah, women go out, but there's still that percentage that don't do that. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that it is not 100% all single moms' fault, because you're trying to put not just the majority, but the majority and the majority that does everything right into that one category where it's like, oh no, that's all your fault. The situation you're in is 100% your fault, even though you did everything right. So
but that's life. I mean, that's life. Like I mean, that's the way I framework in life. You can do everything right and still fail, and that's life. You just take accountability. That's life.
Okay,
You can do everything
so
right.
in
So
that
say that,
majority,
yeah, go ahead.
in that majority where women do everything right, that man should take responsibility and take accountability of the things he did wrong and not step up the plate to, you know? And in marriages, like there can be relationships where it's la-di-da-di-da land and it's absolutely perfect. And the man or women, like I said, it can go both ways in a relationship. But in this instance, the man, they can be perfect. They could do everything a girl would want in a man, you know?
Yeah.
And then right in the marriage, they don't step up to that plate because like the guy said, a marriage, yes, that is a big sign of commitment to some, and to some it's not. And like I said, I agree with you. In some of the cases, women see that as commitment. They see that, oh, that's a ring, that's commitment right there. But in some cases, it is not. And like he said too, I've seen marriages totally completely fall. And when it was so beautiful, such a loving thing to see as the people in relationships, but marriage, it's totally different. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, like I'm just, well, I'm not talking about them. We're not, we're not talking about them. We're just talking about like what can women do today to avoid being a single mom?
But we are though, because you said to fit that criteria, you need to wait for that sexual intimacy until marriage because that's better. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, yeah, you wait.
It's better. Yeah.
Okay. But like I said, women do those right things, and doesn't work out. That's she did everything she could. She fit the criteria pool you created, and she waited until sex, and he waited until sex, and we thought that was good. That's not going to be. Go ahead.
Let me give you an example. So say if you're working for a company, right? Say you're working for a company, you did everything right. You're loyal, did everything right for this company, but they still fired you. Are they responsible for your life after they fire you? Is it who's it? Like, you did everything right. You work for this company, everything you right, and they just said no. They just fired you. And for whatever reason, who's responsible for your life after that? You or the company? Even though you were they did you dirty, they did you unfair. Even though you did everything right, you never was late. You worked every single day, the hardest worker. But for whatever reason, they didn't want to be with you no more, and they fired you, which is unfair. It sucks, but who's 100% responsible with your life after to find another job? Is it the company or is it you?
Oh, it's definitely yourself.
That's what I'm saying is.
But how can you compare that to
because you could
that?
Perfect example, because life is unfair. It's not always perfect. A woman can do everything right and still. But that's like I said, we're just talking and still doing right. But the thing is, she's still gonna end up being a single mom. The guy leaving.
Why?
So,
why when she did everything right? But that's still not her fault because she did everything right.
But we want to talk about the small majority of women that are doing that. But that's what I'm saying is I would still say it's 100% responsibility on her, because at the end of the day, she still end up with the child and she's still a single mom. Even that's because life is unfair. It is what it is. So if you do all the things I said, you have a high probability of finding a good guy. But is there a small percentage, not a majority, if a small percentage of women do all the right things and still get messed up in life? That happens every single day. Yes, you can do all the right things in life, and you still have to take that responsibility. So when I say
you saying life's unfair, or so this happened to you because shit just isn't fair, and that's just the cards that you're dealt with, right? Fair. That's what you said, right?
Life isn't fair.
If that's the case, that is so. How can I say this? That is like so low to say, when instead, like that man that chose to leave, even though she did everything right, like you said, they do everything right. Oh, he leaves. Oh, well, it's still her fault. Because what?
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason. There really is no reason. Like, whatever he left off to, if she did do everything right, is because of him. He didn't want to step up to that plate. Obviously he left his child and the mother of his child. So why can't he take accountability of his actions and why he's leaving? Because let me tell you, life just isn't fair. I mean, if you're gonna be in a marriage, you know, a man and a woman step up to both of their spots and be a married couple, committed to each other, loyal to each other, you know, vow their vows to each other, you know, that's a very intimate thing. And, you know, we have this woman, you know, stepping up to that plate, doing everything right, like you said. And that man still leaves because of whatever shit he's on. Let me tell you, that's his accountability and that is his problem, not hers. That is not her fault that she is a single mom because he decided that he did not want to pull up his big boy pants and step up to the plate in that marriage, because that is 100% him and his fault as to why he left his child with the mother of his child. Does that make sense? Okay, so then you have to agree that, yeah, that man should take accountability and that is his fault for leaving the marriage. You're shaking your head, but you're saying, oh yeah, I understand, because yeah, that's understandable because that happens. And that's definitely not the mom's fault. She did everything right. She fit the criteria. She waited until marriage to have sex. She waited until marriage to have a child. So, you know, that's that. And whatever, you know, after that happens and, oh, well, I'm going to leave. You know, even though we got married, we did everything right. I'm still going to leave. But that's your fault. I'm leaving. Yeah. So let's put it like that. It's her fault. It's the mother of my child's fault that I'm leaving. So yeah, let's put it that way. So I'll like, how does that make sense? How does that make sense when I decide that I want to leave and I don't want to be a parent anymore? I don't want to step up to the plate. So I'm putting all my blame onto the mother of my child because that's her fault that I'm leaving.
Because like I said, because you chose a guy that didn't work out.
But do you know how dumb that sounds? Because like I was saying, I did everything to fit that criteria. Financially stable. He waited with me until marriage to have a child. He was committed. He was a great lover, a great person, kind, courage, whatever the hell you want to put in as a great person, a great man to you or a great woman to you, whatever's perfect for you in a marriage that or the wifey hubby material. That is not her fault for choosing a man that showed all the characteristics she loved into wanting the perfect husband, because she chose all the right characteristics because she had a relationship with that man. She said yes to that ring. And then, you know, after it's like, wait, you're not the person. Like, what happened all these years? You acted this way, so why change it now? Like, if I knew that you weren't this person, then I wouldn't have gotten to this marriage. But how would I know? How would I know when you put on this character that is not you? That is not you that I've ever seen before. And you're still going to say, oh, well, that's 100% the mom's fault, the single mom's fault, because she should have read his mind. She should have known inside and out. She should have known that he was faking it. Like that is completely like, if you're going to sit here and say, yeah, she should have, that is being completely, how should I say it, blank-minded to it. I mean, you like, no one on this green earth can say, oh yeah, I saw it coming. Oh, I totally knew he was faking it, because you don't know. And
what I would say to that is like I said, like you're talking about like you're talking about not the majority. The majority of women are not doing that. So
okay, but thing. we are not talking about the majority. I'm talking about
that's what I'm saying
majority.
Is when I talk about on my podcast, I don't talk about the minority. I talk about what's happening. Majority is real life. We're talking about what's happening in real life. We can sit and talk about things that don't happen often in real life.
You're telling, and on that podcast, because I listened to that podcast. I listened to a few of your videos, and the podcast about single moms. You said, okay, single moms. General single moms. It wasn't, oh, you know, some single moms. No, single moms. They're doing this wrong. They're doing this wrong.
Yes, and I listed all my reasons. So
yeah, we definitely heard your reasons, and like I said, most of the women. Yeah, and like we said, we agree to some of those because some of those do happen. But you're not looking at out of that circle. You're not looking at those moms that had nothing to do with being that single mom. They were put in a situation that they had to step up to the plate themselves because the man didn't want to. They wanted to leave. They left. Even though she was perfect. She looked for the great man. She looked for
She still ended up a
everything.
single mom, right? But she still ended up a single mom.
Because of him. And like you said, majority, oh well, they're not doing that. Okay, yeah, there's women that aren't doing that, which I agree with you with. Okay, because not everyone has the dignity of some, people like, oh well, I'm just, I'm in this for committed relationships. I'm in this for a long time, or I just want to have sex. I told you, I agreed with you on that because that happens in real life. That happens, but you need to see in real life. There's also a thing where it is men's accountability as well as to why some moms are single moms. And you can't tell me, oh, well, that's just some. No, yeah, because that is some. That is still a percentage that matters because that is not all single moms. That's a part of single moms that you're trying to put in a category where, oh, wait, no, that's 100% your fault, even though you did nothing wrong. It's his accountability.
I still would, because like I said, I still would put 100% of responsibility on her because you end up being the single mom. So the thing is, that's just life. Like, life is unfair. You can do all the right things and still
they are a single mom, but you're not saying, oh, but it's 100% their fault. But like you said, it's 100% that's 100% their fault.
It was 100% of the struggle because life ain't fair.
Okay. Oh,
sometimes you can do it.
So that's what you're gonna tell women. That's what you're gonna tell women that stepped up to the plate to be that protector, the care provider, everything for their child, and you're gonna tell them, well, life's not fair, and that's why you're a single mom.
Yeah, I just tell them, hey, you made a bad choice in men. You just made a bad choice in a guy.
But do you see how low that can be? Because you're gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, you're you as a single mom need to take accountability of why a man's not here with you, being a father to both of your guys' child. Why is that? Oh, that is not her fault. That is his fault. That is 100%. Exactly. And you're telling me yes.
No, I'm not agreeing. I'm just saying, no, it's
how are you not saying? How are you going to tell me that's 100% hers?
Because see, the thing is, the difference. I mean, we can go back and forth for this because I come from like a very like realistic point of view that life isn't fair. Life isn't guaranteed. There are choices you can make. There's a high probability of things work out, and there's choices to make that's not going to work out, but you still fall the responsibility on you. The woman, you guys bear the pregnancy, bear the burden of pregnancy. You guys gonna end up with the child. So the single mom. So if you make a choice and it doesn't work out, the responsibility is still on you because you end up being a single mom. And like I said, that's why I have the criteria. A majority of women, if you do these things, you have a high percentage of a chance it's gonna work out. But is life guaranteed? No. But is life always fair? No. The situation is always fair? No. But you still have to bear the responsibility of that result. So I'm an immigrant. When I came to this country, I had no rights, the same rights of all you guys that live in America. Did I sit here and say, hey, this should step up, I should have this situation? No, I just made those choices and I figured out my own life.
How is any of that relevant to the facts of this conversation? It's not relevant to this conversation.
Because you're trying to make it, because like I said, I'm coming from a perspective where life ain't fair, that you can do all the right, because you're saying if you do all the right things, things should work out.
You're right. Life is not fair. Life isn't fair. I agree with you.
You can do all the right things in life and still not get the result, but still have to take the responsibility for it. That's the real life perspective.
Where is this man's responsibility? Where is this man that left his child and the perfect wife? Where's his responsibility?
Like I said, I put the 100% responsibility.
No. I'm asking you. Where is their accountability for that? For leaving? And or like I said, having an affair, that shit happened. So having an affair, so he has no accountability of wrecking that marriage. Let's say that he has no accountability for wrecking that marriage.
Wrecking that marriage, but like we go back to the women are the one leaving the marriage, not the men.
Nope. Let me say, yeah. In some cases there is, because why would I want to stay with the man who cheats? We're not talking about majority, because like I said,
the thing is, like, I want to talk on things that's happening majority. I don't
This
want to talk
is
about
happening.
hypotheticals, extreme.
You
the small
can't. This is not
percentage.
This is not hypothetical. This shit is real
80,
life. This shit
80,
happens.
80% of divorces are initiated not because of fidelity, not because of cheating. 80% of divorces are initiated by women because of financial reasons. That's a
Okay.
fact.
Yes,
So,
there's a percentage, right? You're getting angry, but yeah, I'm agreeing with you. There's
I'm
a
not
percentage
getting
in that
angry.
era. Well,
not
you're
getting
getting
angry.
frustrated, but I'm just trying to tell you, there's also that other
No,
percentage that matters. It's like you're excluding and being like, oh, this is it. We just need to
No,
talk
it's
about this
just
because this is
I'm
that.
no, I'm talking about I'm gonna talk about the majority. Other exceptions, of course. But at the end of the day,
So,
in life, you can do
okay,
all.
so
It's
why
not
are
always gonna be fair.
that that is so I'm not understanding because you know you came on you made the Zoom and you said come talk to me, debate or whatever, or come argue, or I'm not sorry for what I said because I stand by it, in your apology video, come talk to me about everything. And some of the people that I've seen, we come on here, we ask you about the things that wasn't talked about but is still relevant in the same topic. And that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm hearing you on the majority because yes, yeah, I 100% believe that there's definitely data on that, and I believe you on that, and I'm not discrediting you saying that, oh no, that's completely wrong. But you also need to take in the stance of there's another percentage of where it's whether or not you can't take that in because you don't want to, because the topic is, well, no, it's 100% the women's fault, the single mom's fault. But there is that percentage where it's definitely not. And if you can sit here and tell me that the men in that other percentage don't take accountability, then that's real sad for men. And I guess this type of topic, because you're really representing a representation of men, and they can't take responsibility. They can't be
I'm not saying
accountable.
you can't take responsibility. I'm just with the topic that we're discussing.
So can they?
The topic the topic we're
This
discussing
is
is just
the
single mom,
topic.
100% responsibility. So I put if a woman ends up being a single mom, I put 100% responsibility on the woman, not the man.
That's the topic. 100%. What's it called? It's 100% follow. Yeah, that's the topic. This is the topic too, because that is what goes into single moms. We're talking about single moms. That's the topic. That's the topic we're discussing. So that is definitely part of this discussion, and you can't just discard it to the side because that's not what you want to hear. That's I know that's statistics too. Like I said, we haven't researched abuse, but that shit definitely happens. That stuff does happen. And, that's definitely part of a percentage. That is definitely a part of a percentage, and other criteria that we don't even know yet. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, we might, keep going back and forth, but I'm just telling you that there is absolutely no way that we're going to discredit this percentage of women that did everything right and that waited until marriage, waited to have kids until marriage, waited until both partners were stable, make sure that that man was healthy in his mind, that he had money and everything. And, when it comes to the point, oh, what happened? Wait, this is not what I have seen for the last few years in our relationship. Do you get what I'm saying? And so it's the fact of, okay, and the affair, like I said, the whole cheating thing. Yes, there's women that leave their partner. And with that too, yeah, that the whole reason why she's a single mom is because she left that marriage. And honestly, hell yeah, I would not want to stay in a marriage with someone who did not care for me as a wife, as a mother, and his child. Okay, but that is definitely not 100% her fault. I can tell you right now.
But if you choose to leave the relationship and be a single mom, then
that's not 100%. I can tell you that might be 50%. That could definitely be 50 because you're still left. But why did it lead to that? Why did it lead to getting a divorce? Because that man went out of his vows and decided to go cater to another woman. And that is why she left that marriage. And yeah, you can tell me 50%. I can tell you right now, that's definitely not just 100% her fault. I could tell you that there's definitely a percentage in there as to why she is a single mom, because she would be if she did leave. But why did it lead to that? Him. It led to him because of that. And that's that's the accountability you are not letting into this conversation, because that is
go ahead.
But that right there that's important. That's whole statistic right there, that percentage, that is that man's fault. The husband, whatever, the father, that is his fault. And that percentage matters. And like you said, well, I'm talking about the majority. Yeah, that you've talked about that quite a bit, but you're not talking about this percentage, because this matters, and this is a part of single mothers and why they're single moms. And like I don't understand like why I don't you sit here and you say like, oh, I'm not shaming women, or I'm not putting down women, but the downpour of oh, well, women's does this, it's this women's this, women that, women this and this and that, but oh, well, the men, they just it's all the women. But I see nothing as to, yeah, well, this man should have stepped up. It's definitely this fault of why the marriage didn't work, because of him. Men aren't innocent in some marriages.
Yeah, and I
just like women are. Just like women are.
Yeah, I never said that.
Right,
but yeah.
you are not including that into the fact that single moms are single moms, because it led to that because of the man. And I haven't heard once of you speaking about like, of you even coming out and being like, oh, I agree to the fact that, which you obviously don't have to agree, because I'm pretty sure you won't agree to it, because you completely direct the conversation differently when it is brought up in every conversation that you've had on this podcast, but or live. But men in those type of situations, in that percentage too of why single moms are single moms, because of them, they need to be held accountable for it. They need to be sat down, and they need to be what's it called? Yeah, they need to own up to the shit they did, and as to why, oh yeah, I didn't want to be faithful, or I wanted to leave, or I wanted to have an affair with a woman. You were perfect, you were great, you chose me right, but I didn't want to do that. And for you also to sit here and be like, well, it's 100% the women's fault. It's just like, when I try to talk about that percentage that does everything right, that fits that criteria, that chooses the perfect man, and then it ends up not being it. It's the point to where, well, that mom is still a mom. She's the one that stepped up to that plate. She's the one that's still there for their child. I can't say the same for the father, because he obviously did his shit, and that's not his fault. Exactly. So he left. That was his choice, not her fault. Definitely wasn't her fault. It's what he did in his actions to whatever ruin the marriage, or I wasn't man enough to sit here and be faithful, be in a marriage and raise my kid right, or to be here and raise my kid with you. Does that make sense? So I'm saying,
yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So
clearly we have different perspectives, and like I said, you said your piece. I respect you for coming on here and said it. But yeah, I still stand by what my opinion, and I'm sure you're gonna stand by yours. But it's I think it is, like I said, I think it is good to hear the different sides. So and I'm willing to hear it, because that's the thing. Like I'm not shy to listen to other opinions, but for me, I know for a fact that when it comes to life choices, there's always good choices, there's always bad choices, and sometimes in life that you can do all the right things and things don't work out, and life is unfair, but you have to take responsibility for it. But that's just but like I said, we can
right. You have to take responsibility for it. But I thank you for letting me come on here and voicing my opinion. And
no worries.
So yeah, you have a good night.
And I would say, like, to your point, like, yeah, I want men out there to should men step up and take care of their child? Of course. Should men be more accountable? Of course.
Right.
But the only reason why I have my view is because women, you guys will end up with the child. And because you guys will end up with the child, do not rely on this man. Do not expect them to do anything. Be super selective and go out your way to choose these men. And that's all I'm saying, because because the reality is the men will leave. And if they don't like you, they'll just leave their children. And that's what's happening right now in real life. Men they don't care. They just leave. So with all these women out there, I'm telling you, yo, do not just don't just have sex with some bum ass dude. Please, like be super selective. Do not just have sex for the sake of sex. But I know that's not the generation we're limited now. Everybody's just having sex. And I just want that message.
So everyone that's watching, the message that I guess is portrayed right now is whether or not you think he's perfect or you're not being selective enough, is a man is going to be a man and life isn't fair. And if he doesn't man up, he's not a man. And if he leaves, it's your fault. So that's what I got out of this conversation. And like I said, thanks for letting me in on this. So
yeah,
thank you.
Have a good night, okay? No worries. Have a good night. Yep. All right, y'all. Yeah, this is man, we were 3 hours deep, man, 3 hours and a half later. So for everybody that are still watching and everybody that's still on here, thank you so much. Actually, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being part of this live, and having everybody that's willing to come on and have a conversation. It's unfortunate that we're a couple of people that came on here hella mad and it got emotional. But it is what it is. Like I told you guys before, at the end of the day, like, I'm not afraid to hear the other side. I do have my opinions on this subject, and I stand on everything I say. And I hope you guys got a chance to see that. I know there's a big narrative out there right now of me hating women and being misogynistic, and I'm not willing to listen to women. All these things that people make up. At the end of the day, like I told you guys before, at the end of the day, my perspective is very logical. I know I understand there's a very lot of feelings and experiences of what single moms are going through. But if you listen to what I said and listen to my podcast, I'm just speaking about just accountability, responsibility, and making better choices. And I'm not saying that the single moms are less valuable. They're not good moms. They're not good people. They're not worth it. All I'm saying is, with the data that shows that what's happening right now in America, a lot of women out there are making poor choices, and I just want women to be super selective. And I come from a very realistic view. I know a lot of the guests that were jumping on here, they wanted to use, talk about the exceptions or like scenarios that's not a reflection of what's going on in the real world. But that's life. Life is not fair, and that's something that I always tell people, that you can do all the right things and things still don't work out, but you still have to take responsibility. And also, the one thing I did notice with our guests, when I say responsibility, and a lot of people, when I say the word responsibility, they have this like negative connotation to responsibility, like fault. That if you make a mistake, if you have to take responsibility for something, it's a bad thing. And that's the energy or the vibe I got from a lot of these the guests that was on here. But for me, when it comes to responsibility, just because you take responsibility does not mean you're a bad person. Does not mean it was your future's over. You're still a great person. You still have a better future. We just take responsibility. So just because I say take responsibility, I say to me it's a positive thing to look at, because in my life, everything, the biggest times in my life where I grew the most as a man, as a person, as an individual, was when I made mistakes, when I did mess up, when I did make poor choices in my life. So my failures were the biggest learning opportunities to grow in my life. So I know a lot of times when I take a responsibility, people look at it or hear it in a negative way, but I see it as a positive thing, that as a woman, if you have a poor selection in men, at the end of the day, life is fair. There's ways to do things to have a high probability of finding the right guy, but sometimes you can do all the right things and life doesn't work out, and that's just life. It's unfair. But even if it's unfair, things don't work out, you can still take responsibility and learn from it and move on. So I think that's one of the things I did notice from a lot of these guests here. They're trying to make it. They try to think. They're trying to create a scenario with responsibility is they avoid the negativity of responsibility, but responsibility is a great thing, especially if you take accountability for your choices, because at the end of the day, that's where we get our growth. That's how we learn. That's how we improve. That's how we progress. Is from our failures. So for all these women out there, like I said, please be super selective. And if you make a bad choice, that is not a bad thing. If you choose the right guy, the guy messes up, the marriage is messed up, it's not a bad thing. Everything happens for a reason. It's better for things not to work out and you had a bad selection in men, and so you can get away from that situation and move on to a better life, you know. And I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. So I don't think making mistakes is a bad thing. And that's why I know for a lot of people, when you say, oh, you made a mistake, oh, it's your fault, or you're 100% accountability on you, I know a lot of people take it in a very negative way and they get very defensive. And I would say to a lot of people, when I speak about the real aspects of life, because I speak in a very practical perspective, that's a great thing. So if you messed up and you chose the wrong guy, ladies, you know, see it as a positive. You know, just take 100% responsibility for your life and move on with your life. And at least that guy is no longer in your space, and you can go out there and change your life and find a better guy. And just there's nothing wrong with admitting you made a mistake. There's nothing wrong with admitting that things didn't work out and just taking full accountability for your life. And that's just how I see the world. I don't take response. I don't expect accountability from anybody. Everything, all the choices I make in my life, I know is all 100% on me. And that's just where I'm coming from. I come up with a very practical, logical view, because I know that's how life is. Because at the end of the day, when you make your choices, you're gonna have to be the one to deal with the repercussions. And the world doesn't care. The world doesn't care about your situation. The world doesn't care about what you went through. The only person that can fix your life and change your life is you. And I think a lot of people need to hear that. I think a lot of women need to hear that. And then I know a lot of women don't want to, they're still stuck in the past. They hate the baby father. They're still healing. They hate just all this toxic energy. And it's one of the main reasons why they haven't moved forward to attract a healthy partner. So, but like I said, I have nothing love for single moms. I have no ill feelings or hate towards anybody. Everybody out there that sending me constantly sending messages, F you, this, and this. If you saw on a podcast, like I said, there was a guy and a girl that said F you about after the podcast. So they clearly had some kind of ill feeling of hate just because I see things differently. So for me, like, I don't have hate towards nobody. I have my perspective. I stand by what I say. I do my research and have that data. But I don't hate on anybody just because you have a different opinion than me. I don't hate on you just because you see things differently. I can't understand that. And how can people really have ill hate? You can really hate somebody that they don't know, really hate somebody that they haven't taught to. That's why I don't respond to negative comments. That's why I don't respond to negativity. And that's why I don't slander anybody. I mean, you see the comments of what's going on my Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. All these people are just slandering me and calling me this and this and this, never watching the full context of the video. Hopefully today, what I prove to you guys out there that that's not me, because people that know me in real life know I'm a nice guy. You know, Savage on here. I have a good heart, I have good intentions. I don't hate women, regardless of you may feel like that. I might sound like a misogynist, but unfortunately, we live in this world that when if a man speaks up about women, he's considered misogynistic. Because I know a lot of the women on here say, "How can you speak on women? That's a misogynist." But women speak about men all the time. So women speak about how shitty men are. Women speak about how a guy is how short he is, or you don't have money. Women speak about men all the time, but I don't see women holding those women accountable. But if a man speaks about a woman, then everybody's blaming, saying I'm a misogynist, especially if I'm saying things that I have data to back it up. I'm not saying this just to say things, or it's my opinion. I'm saying things and I have data. I speak on things that's happening in real life that are truths, even though it's uncomfortable truths. But I have data to back it out. So yeah, I just find that it's the society we live in today that people, if you have a different opinion about somebody, people will cancel you, and people will hate on you, and that's why I'm not fazed by the negativity in this world, all the negativity that's been upon me, because I know myself. I know I'm a good person. People that truly know me, I'm a good person, and I'm gonna keep doing my stuff and keep doing my thing, and I'm always willing to listen. Always willing to listen. And that's a sad thing. A lot of people, they don't want to listen to the other side. They'll easily talk shit about you. They'll easily slander you. They'll easily shame you. But nobody's willing to speak to the other person. I am not shy to talk to people who disagree with me, as you guys see on this podcast. Some of these people even swore at me. Some of you got mad. The first girl got mad and called me and said, F you. The other guy said, the other guy that was mad said, I don't care about your statistics, which is F you in Tongan if you don't know that. And you know what I'm saying? It just shows you that they're already feeling some type of way and have already ill feeling towards it because I see things differently. And it's sad that we've got to that point, especially in the Pacific Islander community, that, you know, it's a very tribalistic, tribal mentality that if you don't see things the same way that everybody else sees it, then everybody's gonna shame you or hate you and try to cast and ostracize you. So, and that's why I really believe that that's why a lot of Pacific Islanders out there in our community are so afraid to be themselves, and so afraid to speak out on certain topics. They're very uncomfortable because of this cancel culture and tribal mentality that we have, not only as people in real life, but also as a community. So hopefully for me, I'm always in the business of inspiring people. So like, hopefully this inspires somebody out there that regardless if the whole world is against me, regardless of people hating me right now and they want to say all these bad things about me, I'm gonna stick to my truths. I'm gonna stick to my path. I'm gonna stick to being myself. I'm the same person in public and in private. And like I said, I don't treat anybody differently because you see something, because you think differently than me. I don't treat you differently because you're different. I believe being different is what makes us unique, is what makes us who we are. And that's the biggest blessing that God gave us, was he made us different from everybody else. And if you're not comfortable with who you are, if you don't believe in yourself and be your authentic self, then you're not gonna manifest the purpose that God has for you. If you try to be like everybody else, then you're never gonna find your purpose and true happiness. And I don't want to be like everybody else. So I don't care if people are liking and hating me. That's good. I mean, I don't want to be like. I don't want to be liked by everybody. It's good to be hated because you know that saying, if they don't hating on you, they're hating on you, they're doing something right. So I just wanted to say that also. And the one thing I just want to say to everybody that's still watching, because of the cancel culture, I will say on this, there's a lot of people out there that's trying to cancel my catering business that I started with my sister. So I have a catering business. I started with my sister. It's called Lincoln's Kitchen, that I started with my sister. And a lot of people today from Sacramento and all around, especially Sacramento Bay Area, they're trying to cancel our business. So I know the one thing I would say, everybody out there, man, like, hopefully by this video you saw that, hopefully you got a different perception of me, because there's this perception of me that's going around social media that I'm misogynistic, I hate women, I put women down. And I had a conversation today with all these people that disagreed with me. And if you notice that I did not, some of them said the F word, some of them swore at me, some of them, you can see that they were mad about my opinion, but I hold no hate. I don't, I always I always respect everybody that's, even if you have a different opinion. So the one thing I would say is, like, everybody that's listening, for everybody out there, that, if you have some beef with me, if you hate me or you have an issue with what I say, bring that energy towards me. I can handle it. But to attack my business that I started with my sister, it's called Lincoln's Kitchen, that doesn't sit right with me. And I just want to say for everybody out there, like, me and my sister started that business, and we make quality Tongan food. We do great work, and it's sad to see that a lot of people out there, because they disagree with me, they wanted to try to cancel somebody's way of living and the way we put food on the table. So that's a whole nother level of hatred that's unfortunately that I see in real life out there right now. That so many people are trying to cancel, and they don't want to buy the food, if they don't want to do business with us because I have a different opinion. So I wanted to get on here real quick and say for everybody out there that I know even though I may have a lot of haters, but if you listen to this right now live, I know there's a lot of people that do support me, that send me text messages and send me messages privately, and they believe in what I'm doing, and they believe in what I'm saying, and they support the path I'm choosing. All I want to say out there, I don't ask, I'm not the type of person to ask for people for something. because I want to do it. I take accountability for everything in my life. But when it comes to the business I started with my sister, because she's the one that's cooking, and she has a great passion and she loves the business. If you are out there right now from the Bay Area, the Sacramento area, and you support my business, and if I was able to change my perception, my own perception of what people say about me in this video and in this podcast, I just want to ask for your help to please support our business, the business that me and my sister have worked so hard to build, and it's unfortunate that people are trying to cancel. So I just want to say that because, like I said, I don't care if the hate is on me. I can carry that burden because I'm built for it. That's what I do. I'm in the comes with the territory. But I do feel some type of way about attacking my business that me and my sister created. It has nothing to do with this podcast. It's just that's something that me and sister I help my. It's not my business. It's her business. But I help. I support it. I help her build her business and help her run it. So I just wanted. It's like that's something that bothers me. And I'm not an angry person. I barely get angry, but that one of the things that makes me angry that people are willing to hate and only hate, but they're willing to try to cancel somebody's livelihood of their way of putting food on the table just because they have a different opinion. And it's sad to see that cancel culture today. So everybody out there that's watching this right now, if you're in the Bay Area, if you're in the Sacramento area, and you support me and my journey, what I'm doing today, and all the content I constantly put in work to, and you love my channel, I just want to ask here today and humbly ask you, mole, please support our catering business. If you love quality Tongan food, if you have functions that you want us to cater for, if you need any kind of help with catering, or just, funerals, for birthday parties, for weddings, please, support and reach out to Lincoln's Kitchen. It's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, and please, like I said, support my sister's business, and because she's a Tongan as well, just like me, and we both immigrated to this country, and we're just everyday blue collar Tongans just trying to make a living and trying to live our dreams and be the best version of ourselves. So I just wanted to ask everybody that's listening, to support our business. And I would love to, like I said, in the business, we do deliver, and I will meet you personally. So if you, I'm not emotional, but when it comes to my sister's business, I'm very emotional because I want to help her succeed. If you order the business, I will deliver the food personally to your house, and I will hug the hell out of you. I will hug you. I will kiss your feet. Shoot, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you support the business, because you really want to support. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that to the end of the business because it's really upsetting, and I really feel some type of way that people are trying to cancel my sister's business because because of what they feel some type of way about my content and what I said. So, yeah, please, like you said, if you're in the Bay Area, Sacramento, please support Lincoln's Kitchen. I'll have the link below the bottom of this video. But yeah, nevertheless, like I said, all the single moms out there, I'm not insensitive to what you guys going through. I know you're great people. I have single moms in my family. I was raised by a single mom. My grandma was a single mom. But I stand by my view of the responsibility, but it does not mean that I think they're terrible people. They're worthless. I don't insensitive to what they've gone through. But because of what I see of the dating culture today, everybody having sex and all these things, all these experiences I've seen single moms have gone through. That's why I'm very passionate about spreading this message of taking accountability. Please be super selective of the men you choose to be with. I do not wish that upon anybody. I've seen that within my own family. I've seen that with my own grandma that raised me. It's a hard life being a single mom. So, with this dating culture today, that everybody's having sex without any accountability to the future. And you saw it on today's guest, like the first girl today. She did not care about. She literally said that on this podcast. Like, why would women think about the future and plan out? And why don't plan out her decision when it comes to making sex? She should have sex. That's the mentality of a lot of women today. we live in an environment today that in society today, we're pushing a lot of women to just have sex because 90% of women today are sexually active and never think about the repercussions. So, and that's why I'm here to say, even maybe hard to hear for a lot of women out there, but I've never been the type of person to shy away from the truth. And I'm a very blunt and direct person. And I just tell you guys how it is, and it is what it is. So, yeah, like I said, I have no hate, I have no ill feelings. I'm sorry for everybody out here that wasn't able to get to you guys. I know obviously it's been almost 4 hours now on here. And I think next time I gotta shorten up the podcast. And actually, you know what? I see there's a lot of people that have agreements. They do have something to say about something that I said on my podcast. So I think I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna do this every single Wednesday. Every single Wednesday, I'm gonna have a live public Zoom, and everybody that has something to say about my podcast and want something to say and want to speak on certain subjects, I'll give you guys that platform to come on. And I think it's a beautiful thing that I'm creating a platform not only for myself, but I'm also creating a platform for other people, for everyday person out there that wants to say something about their opinion on how certain things. And if I can use my platform to promote other people, to promote our own people out there, yeah, then I believe I'm doing a great service for not only for myself, but also for people out there. So I'm gonna do this every single Wednesday. If you're watching this right now, I'm gonna have another one next Wednesday, same time, 7:00 p.m. every single Wednesday. And I want to invite people to come on and we can just talk about certain topics, and especially the topics I do discuss on my podcast. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. If you're still alive, have a good night from all around the world, wherever you may be, wherever you're at right now. And I'll see you guys on the next show. Okay? Stay blessed.